Yo, peace and black power. It's your brother Knowledge born alive. Do the Knowledge Radio. The place where knowledge is born.
Knowledge Radio.
This is 3K.
Think tank.
This is 3K.
Hey,
this is 3K.
I swear that knowledge is born. It's where I swear that knowledge is born. It's where I swear that knowledge is born. It's where I swear that knowledge is born. Who ducked, who down, return fire. We're the warriors, the healers, enlighteners, enlighten us. I'm tired of the same old, that game old with an upgrade. I'm a sunbathe in the sun rays while my guns blazing, they complain. Devil, my level not attainable. My metal, not malleable. I'm a man, didn't need that manual. Reparations is incalculable. Yeah, we wanted in blood, dead in the begging, head in the beheading, metal to the meddling. Members is aggressive, getting to the Armageddon. Karma, seem calmer when it comes to retribution. Caliber, catalyst in my clips and I use them on traitors and haters and the ones that spread confusion. Cause the devil's playground wasn't built for our amusement. Hey, meet me at the guard hour. Hey, in these strange days, you gon' need a strong counter. Spin like Beyblade. Impenetrable armor, Orient aura. This story, this saga get gory before it get calmer. Keep holding that revolutionary posture. 85 gon' dip and dodger, but when they get monster, they turn into MC Light, earrings, and become door knockers. I'm irate, they pirate the culture, send them to Davy Jones' locker. It's okay. Okay. Let them think that you lost it. Be patient, this type of thing you can't force it. Play possum, but nah, not know about the road. And they can't comprehend cause the language is coded. We plan ideas and we plan explosives. Make your pockets go for more bits or more bread. The portal done open, they can't close it. You ain't got a sideline, you could cause more risk. No set birth date, no Dorian Gray portraits. It's about to get ugly and these devils can't forfeit. Ancestral memories, so no, I won't forget. What we building is an impenetrable fortress for sure. Every show is just like a core ship, and my flow for sure tighter than your gal's corset. It's okay. We are the source, you can't outsource it. Even Spartans don't want no parts, Neff. What do you know? Before you know it, 3,000 wild Africans at your doorstep. Hey, meet me at the guard hour. Hey, in these strange days, you gon' need a strong counter. Spin like Beyblade. No, we will not cower while the rest they play safe. We will move with God's power. This is not for play. Honor my ancestors, play the Oriate day. Peace to you, loved ones, stay dangerous and stay safe. AKAs and AKs coming to make their caves cave. Wreck the race like take case, stay dangerous and stay safe.
Yeah. We back in the building. What's going on? I'm always smiling from ear to ear when I got my brother in the building. You understand what I'm saying? It's always an honor to hear from you and see you in the stages of development as we grow, closer in the aspects of our ascension back into our divine mind. One who don't pull no punches, hold no cut, give it to us raw. You know what I'm saying? That blue magic. You understand what I'm saying?
Yeah.
The blue magic. You understand?
Yeah.
My honor and privilege at this time to speak with the others, man. Our brother, our teacher, and the one who gonna keep it the realest at all times, man. Oba Ade Dayo in the building. Welcome back.
Peace to the God, my man. Knowledge born all along. I answer your calls, baby.
I love it, man. I love it. I'm honored, man, because I know you don't answer a lot of calls. You know what I'm saying?
And that's the thing. I gotta acknowledge grown man shit. Right? A lot of our generation is stuck on some Peter Pan shit. Niggas don't want to grow up. You know what I mean? I've always had a want to be an old black man.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? Like, I've always wanted to be like, I want to be one of them old dudes that just be like doing this thing. Because I've seen so much death in youth, right? And I'm still experiencing, you know, my peoples is dying from, not just from the gunshots no more. Now they dying from the bad lifestyle that we was living. You know what I'm saying? Niggas is drinking Hennessy every fucking night, smoking, you know what I mean? Copious amounts of fucking tobacco and weed, being stressed out, trying to figure out the next, you know what I'm saying? That shit takes a toll on you. So, you know, to be old, man, I would like to see, you know what I'm saying, our generation get to a thing of age where we could be, you know what I'm saying, mature and classy and, you know, be objective about our past. You know what I'm saying? Because we are survivors of an unofficial war. You know what I mean? I actually have somebody right now doing the numbers in terms of the mortality between the children in 1968 and 1978. Right? To talk about, you know, the mortality of that era of children, of what I like to call us, we're really the latchkey generation. Okay? The latchkey generation. We you know, we grew up at a time, you know, there was video games and all that, but it wasn't like bombarded into our society. We still watched the TV was the most programmable device in our life. You know what I mean? And so the latchkey kids grew up with the cartoons and the sitcoms, you know what I mean? The reruns, the sitcom reruns. And I was telling my wife, we was talking about how, you know, social media, how we got to this place. And I was explaining to her about the back in the days when television was beginning to get raw with shit like Morton Downey Jr. Folks don't remember that, right?
Right.
Morton Downey Jr. and them,
Right.
they set the stage and the tone for eventually the Jenny Joneses and all that, right? Which is a society where people would come up to the television to be weird and then allow the audience to take shots at them, right? Well, that's the internet right now. You post something, motherfuckers got they say their opinion, right? And that was the era of where politics and, you know, brute force, you know, people forgot Roy Ennis pushed Al Sharpton down on the ground. Like they was about to rumble. You know what I'm saying? Like you could go to YouTube and check all of that shit out. Like you see when you see Al Sharpton now, you got to go back and look at the beginnings. Like, nah, son, I remember when you weren't that sharp like that. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
I remember he wasn't that sharp like that. He was a little bit of a goon, right? So you can't try to reinvent yourself when we have recorded. We live in a time of recordings, right? Whether it be audio, visual now, in real time. You know, you are accountable for your actions at this point. You know what I mean? So, you know, I look at the world today and I try not to be so subjective. You know what I mean? I try to just observe it and see what it is and try to make the proper provisions to avoid the bullshit. You know? Like I said, I don't deal with too many platforms. It's your platform and Urban X. That's it. That's it. That's not to say that there are other platforms that are worthy, but there are some that are not worthy that I'm like, nah, we ain't doing that. Feel me? We ain't doing
Definitely. I'm on it, man. I am definitely on it because there's a stringent list, and there's people who purport to be like us, and they'll never be here. You know, they'll never be here. Either they preclude themselves or I exclude them.
Right.
You see what I'm saying? Like this isn't for everybody. You see what I'm saying? You can go to places where they're inclusive. You know, they're inclusive, and you can say and do whatever you want over there. Over here, nah. They already know. You see what I'm saying? Like one of the guys, man, I had Tahir RBG on, and I remember I had Divine RBG on, And he said, radio know not to play my shit. You see what I'm saying? Like, so they know not to come over here. And if they look around over here, they already understand. Like, oh no, yeah, I'm not doing that. You see what I'm saying? It was some childhood folks that I love, because you go back in your mind, you'd be like, man, I want to sit with such and such. You see what I'm saying? Then people was like, nah, we can't come over here.
Right.
You see what I'm saying? And I'm like, at least they're honest. You see what I'm saying?
Right.
But don't have no outrage though out there in the street, because I hear the outrage when it's fake outrage, because everybody every other week they want you upset about some shit or something crazy going on. You see what I'm saying? So what's been going on? How you see for what's been going on?
Well, you got to understand that people got a short attention span and a terrible memory, right? And so I'm gonna start off with, so the whole Yesh thing, I don't know why anybody is anything when, if you've been paying attention, he told you this is how he was. And you can't try to measure how much black he is on the strength that nobody was behind him when he said that first slick shit on that marathon, or on that telethon, when he said George Bush don't love black people. And niggas didn't get behind him. They left that nigga cold and stinking like Abe Lincoln. Nobody wanted to touch him, right? When he said the things that niggas knew they wanted to say but didn't have the fucking guts to say, he did that, and nobody stood behind him. So at a certain point, you got to know that even myself, when I was a young man, I observed Colin Ferguson be berated by the people. And I was like, yo, this is the same shit that if you go back to colonial times, when a nigga did some shit like that, niggas was like, oh, he's bugging, right? So that you be like, oh, so history is always behind. Niggas is always on the wrong side of history, right? Because they the sheeple. So he said George Bush don't love black people. That's to let you know, if you listen to every album, he been talking the same business all the time. He talk about them pilgrims in every album, right? Okay, he said something interesting too. He said, he was like, yeah, y'all talking about me. He said, but I just infected their bloodline. Now they got black babies in their bloodline, right? Right. You gotta know that, and I understand that he is the byproduct of being born conscious, having a mother who was a black professor, you know what I'm saying, a black American history professor. So he's very well versed in the history of what black people go through in the politics. At the same time, you got to step through this nigga swamp, right? And these coons, these slaves they'll drag you down like quicksand, right? So you got to be able to try to traverse both worlds at the same time. So with that, I'm not even like, we don't even got to go no further. It is what it is. He is who he is. Like him or love him. You either on the bandwagon or you know what I'm saying, you know what's going on, you don't, right? When it comes to the Kyrie Irving thing, that shit is pure money. They owe that boy money for that jiggity jab bullshit. They don't want to pay him. They trying to stain his name and get him up out of there without having to pay him. That's all that is, right? All them niggas that's on them TV shows are there because of what they are. They coons. I don't care what Shannon Sharp says. In fact, my nigga, I have never in my life watched ESPN by myself. I only watch it because I be with my niggas and niggas want to turn on, they want to see what happened on the game. I'm not interested. I don't care. Feel me? I never cared. Like, I never been, like, athletics, okay, but like, yeah, you can achieve it, but I understand that it was a horse and pony show. You really a slave in that. I get it. So I was never interested in that, right? So I don't put too much into sports. So I'd be like, I don't know why you niggas listening to what the fuck any of these niggas say. Feel me? So when it comes to that, I moved that out the way. What was interesting today is the doctor was on today on the Breakfast Club. Now, whatever he said political, I agree, I agree with 90% of what he talked about. But what I don't agree with is the false propagation of religious credentials. That I don't get with. Now, niggas say that, oh, we need to be like the Jews. Okay, well then let's be like the Jews. Because you couldn't get on TV if you was a fake rabbi. You couldn't do it. But for some reason or another, the conscious community has found my tradition to be something that they could pluck from whenever they like, but they don't reinvest in. So they'll take Ashe, they'll take the ancestors and libations and all of that, but they don't never contribute back into my tradition. You feel me? So he says he's Ifa Tunde. Now, this ain't hate. This is just somebody that has spent 45 years in a tradition that was otherwise in the basements of people's houses, right? So I know that he's not a Babalawo because the time that he was in Cuba was right after I had gone back in 2017. I was there that July. He came in that August. I saw his blogs. He wasn't around no people. He wasn't in the hood with no people, staying with no godparents. That's number one. Number two, Cubans and Nigerians. If you go to Nigeria or if you go to Cuba to get any initiation, them niggas gonna take a picture. They're gonna be like, what's good? Everybody that participated gonna be trying to get in the photo, right? That's in Nigeria and in Cuba. I know plenty of niggas that went to both places and got initiated and got plenty of pictures. They be like, what's goody? Right after the ceremony. In my ceremonies, I got pictures with me and my godfathers taking a picture right after the ceremony. You ain't got them pictures, I'm not with it. The second thing is, he got this name, Ifa Tunde. So, mechanically, it's not possible because when you pass to Ifa, when you become initiated to Ifa, which is a fraternity a male fraternity of divination, when you pass into that divination system, in Cuba, particularly, when you first get initiated, they don't give you a name. They give you a name of whatever signal that you came out at. So, for instance, there's old timers like the very first Babalawo, his name is Ade China. They call him Oba Ade Dayo. That's his old dude, right? So that until you surmise a certain amount of religious initiations and advances, do you get this Ifa name so that you be like Ifa Alade, Ifa Joye, you know what I'm saying? Ifa Funke. These are names that are given to you after you have passed a certain amount of credentials in Ifa to get a name. So I don't approve of him because you're speaking for people who you don't speak for and you don't speak to. So don't go, like, that's like somebody that took shahada in their crib. Like you went online and you saw the stories and you took shahada in your crib and now you speak to the Muslims. Like, what are you talking about? Nah, son.
Right.
You ain't on your deen. You know what I'm saying? Who's your imam?
Right.
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 Yeah. Right. So I love what Umar talks about in terms of his voice in the greater, network of the greater, you know what I'm saying, community of people. But I'm G-checking niggas like, yo, son, I did 372 days in white clothes. You don't get to just come up and talk about Jews down with my shit, my nigga. If you wasn't on the line, the same way I just can't be like, yo, I'm a Q dog. Like I went and got some purple and gold. I'm a Q dog now. Nah, son, you can't do that. You feel me? Real talk. Niggas be bugging out. Right?
Oh, yes.
Then I got the niggas that converted. God bless you. But in the immortal words of the brother Fred Hampton Jr., yeah, you conscious now, but you got a late pass. You late. And when you come into class late, you go to the back and you sit your ass down and shut up because you got catching up to do. Feel me? So niggas be talking all that shit. I'm a baby of Pan-Africanism. He could call himself the Prince of Pan-African, all that. Nah, son, I went to a freedom school. Huru Sasa, Weusi Shule, Mapin Doozy. Like, we not gonna talk that talk when I was indoctrinated with that shit. You ain't gonna tell me that shit. Get the what? Come on, son. I used to wake up every morning and go to school and sing the Red, Black, and Green, as well as the National Black Anthem every morning.
Right.
Nah, son, you don't get to come later on and put some patchouli oil and some crystals on and tell me nothing about none of that shit. What the fuck you talking about? What?
Lord, what you said it for? What you said it for?
Real talk.
What you said they put on, Lord? Some patchouli oil?
Patchouli oil, it's got the nose ring. They burning incense and would tell me about my energy. Like, yo, you don't get out of here.
Yo, not even the blue now?
Not, oh, come on, son. You feel me? Come on. Like, yeah.
Oh, man.
Yo, let me tell you something. I was in New Orleans with my wife. I went into one of them voodoo shops. Them white bitches didn't want no smoke with me. They was like, They was busy doing what they would do. They wasn't even trying to sell me nothing. I was walking around. They was like, oh, this nigga is certified. Don't ask him no questions. Leave him alone. You heard? They know what it is. So I'm saying, it's like Jim Jones trying to argue with T. Rogers, God bless the dead. You heard? What Jim Jones gonna tell T. Rogers about Blood Nation? Like, you don't even get out of here, son. I was doing that before you got inseminated in your mama. Don't tell me about no. You know what I'm saying? So I'm at that point, like, you know, I love my people, but I don't love them enough to swim in the waters of insanity. You feel me? Because, you know, I had did a post like, so I'm not selling Lucumi. I ain't selling that. I don't want everybody to get initiated to Lucumi. I really don't. What I am selling to the black man is spiritualism. Glass of water and a candle. It's real simple. You niggas do it everywhere. You do it on the corner in the front of the project building with all the candles. You do it there. Do it in your home. Right? Honor that which is the closest to you, that which has affected you and necessarily help rear you in making your decisions, right? I'm selling spiritualism because I'm telling people that it's like, you know, if you take psychology, they talk about pathology, right? Right. Okay. Now, I probably get slayed for this, but listen to this. I know a dude. His whole life, I know him. He come to the park, he play ball. He's just one of the homies. What's good, son? I don't know him enough to know what he's doing on his off time, but I know something. One day he decided to come out the closet. Now he's a homosexual. Okay. Now when I see him, he like, hey, what? He dressed in a certain way. He got this whole thing going on. Well, it's the same thing with this. Niggas be one day regular, all of a sudden they find out about some Orishas and now they rapping their head. The niggas is, what? If they talking, Ashe, you are suffering from some mental illness. Because what was the difference? Like, with the dude, like, you like boys regardless. You could still give me a pound, like, what up, son? You don't gotta be, hey, that don't got nothing to do with what you like. So the boobas and the labas and the non-bras and the incense and all of that shit don't got nothing to do with this either. Feel me? And I try to present myself as is so people can see that, yeah, I'm a spiritualist, I'm a priest of Shango. I sing in drummings, I dance, I get possessed, all that, but I wear regular clothes like everybody else. I'm not projecting that I'm better than anybody else or that I'm different than you by necessarily changing my regalia. You know what I'm saying? And I need us to be like that because there's a part of us that, you know, you don't have to wear what you are. That's you wear that on the inside. I don't gotta tell you what I think. So I could be around you and you could be talking all of the fucking Christian shit you want. I'm not fitting to argue with you and be upset about your beliefs. I'm gonna let you go with all of that because that's how you feel. I'm not fitting to insert no parts of, oh yeah, well, you know, no, do as you will because what you saying don't hurt me. Feel me? I don't have to defend my tradition everywhere I go. Cats be doing that. So now you found out about the Orishas, now you just talking about somebody, Jesus Christ, man, leave them in their Jesus Christ alone. Feel me? I got homeboys that gangbang. I don't believe in that shit. That shit is the crazy shit to me. But I don't be around them, oh, son, you bugging with that shit. You playing yourself. Whatever, man. You'll figure that out on your own. You know what I'm saying? And that's with everything. And that's what people, it's too much missionary shit going on. You motherfuckers running around here with a flag trying to tell somebody what to do. Nah. So for 2023, I have set up my nonprofit, you know what I'm saying, educational, you know what I'm saying, charity. I'm in the midst of trying to find some property so I could, you know, get this little farm thing going on. I can keep 2 chickens. I get 3 chickens in my backyard right now. You feel me? Like, I ain't just talking that shit. I be really about living like that. I got a rooster and 2 hens in my backyard right now. I just need more so that I could do more, right? But yeah, I'm about to, because, you know, at the end of the day, when in Rome, do as Romans do. So everybody else be like donations and all that good shit and all that. Well, I got a 501(c)(3). You get a little, you know what I'm saying, taxes, them to motherfucking receipt. Come fuck with me. I ain't really, you know, and if I'm collecting funds, it's going to be for a cause. It's something that you're going to see that's going to come to fruition. So boom, when I decide I'm going to put up something, I'm going to be taking contributions to buy a house for my godmother and them in Cuba. And in that allows me to take people over there and allow them to witness the culture firsthand, right? Because my godmother live in a hovel, right? That shit is smaller than a closet. And when I do that, and the people that donate, when they're gonna see the fruits of that. When I go to Cuba and she go buy the house and they give her the keys and she get the crib. Oh yeah, and we start having the drummings and all that, and I'm able to videotape that stuff and have it on hand because we in my house in Cuba. Yeah, that's what I'm trying to do. I'm trying to get this library together to collect as many of the books that even talk about my tradition and have them available so that there's somebody to be able to condense the information, right? So that because you could go to the library, but they're not gonna have all the books that's on the tradition. So I'm trying to make one that's specifically for that, right? So I got these small term goals, you know, with a long term, hopefully a long term effect. You know what I mean? I'm in the midst of finishing this book now that talks about the folklore and some of the stories that has visuals in it. So it's art as well as the literature and the folklore. You know, we're working on a lot of stuff, but you know, there's always a resistance, man. You know, the stream sometimes is going against you. The current is going against you, so you have to be diligent to keep going, you know, in the direction, even though there's resistance. So, you know, we try to do that, but like, it's unfortunate that there is a rift in our community, right? We can't get it together because there's too much. It's too much. The young people say capping, right? It's too many like cliched narratives that are put out there that don't get to really disinfect the wound, right? So we talked about this before on your show. So I hear the dudes, the rappers and the guys that come out of jail and everybody be talking about how they got into the streets. And they always talk about how they admire the drug dealers and all of this and that. And that shit is bullshit. That shit is a lie. If we're gonna get to the bottom of some of the ills in our society, specifically in urban areas, which specifically relates to young Black men, we have to first recreate the system of value in our community. It's the system of value. So they tried to necessarily put all the New York City kids under uniform. I believe in uniform. Ain't nobody better than nobody. I don't care where you came from, right? So that so what happens is the parents, because they're so fucking poor-minded, fought for the kids to wear their sneakers to school so that they could essentially create a caste system for the kids who only got the fly sneakers, right? And everybody else becomes, you know what I'm saying, pushed to, you know what I'm saying, to the wayside. So now, with that mentality, when we change the value of things, it will change the value of how children see each other in school, and we will essentially get rid of the bully. Because the bully is the child that is neglected, that doesn't have the services at home to present themselves in school like the rest of the children. And so they begin to create what A.A. Rashid talks about, a dominance hierarchy, right? So you in the hood, it ain't because the drug dealers, they making money to get you to sell drugs. That's bullshit. You get in the hood because a nigga tried to take something from you first, right? And you get to a point where you like, yo, I gotta defend myself. So I either gotta make friends with the niggas that's defending themselves, or I gotta get me an equalizer. Now, when you get that equalizer, albeit a knife, a razor, a gun, whatever, a bat, hopefully the severity is not that bad that your first hit, you end up in prison. Because if you are defending yourself from a bully and you use any one of those things against them, the court's gonna send your ass to jail. So now you go into jail, and you used to read comic books and watch Naruto and all that, but now you go into baby jail. You're gonna get a full fucking PhD in criminality, right? And so I keep saying that it's the violence before the money. The violence, once you commit violence against another human being, selling drugs, stealing is easy. On the moral scale, that's easy, because if I've inflicted pain, lacerations, or battery upon another human being, that human part of me, now to sell drugs is easy, because you come and ask me for the drugs. I just gotta stand here like a vending machine. You gonna come get it from me. Stealing, ain't nobody get hurt, right? So if we eliminate that part from our communities, right? That part that young men get caught in, because if you're not getting bullied, you're getting teased. So if you're coming outside and your sneakers is not good, it's because you're getting teased. So they're gonna find a way to necessarily so you can get the new sneakers like everybody else, right? And that's usually by way of violence. You take it from another motherfucker. You understand? So let's stop with this fake narrative that niggas grew up. I ain't never grown up worshiping no drug dealers. The drug dealers was not to be played with in my neighborhood. You understand? You came in the building, them niggas was in the building, wasn't nobody trying to be their friend. Them niggas, yo, keep it pushing, bro. You know what I'm saying? You not online to get these drugs, get out the way. There was nothing about them that was appealing. You understand? It was the fact that having to defend oneself in the streets, going through Bedford-Stuyvesant in the 1980s and the 1990s was like walking through a gauntlet. I can't walk through this block. If I walk through this block, these niggas gonna be on. I gotta take a detour. Feel me? A configuration for me to get from the train station to my house. I got a homeboy that, God bless him, was in the police academy and got murdered because he was taking a detour to get to his side of the projects because his projects was at war. You feel me? So let's talk about that, because that is the core of the suspicion that we have amongst each other, so that we can't do business together because somebody gonna snake somebody because we on this this dominance hierarchy. I gotta get you before you get me. So then we can't be business partners because I'm looking at you suspicious because I don't trust you. How do I know I don't trust you? When I walk down the street in any neighborhood, wherever I'm at, if I see a nigga, I'm on point. I'm on point. So we can't do no business together if I don't trust you. So we got to change that whole dynamic first, right? We have to change that dynamic, and we have to figure out a banner that speaks to everybody that's under that banner. You feel me? Because so like there's people that niggas would say, oh, that this person is a sellout, that I don't necessarily agree with. That when I listen to these people and their logic, I'm in agreement with them. I'm in agreement with Candace Owens. I ain't gonna hold you. I like her. She say some shit that be some real shit. Like, yo, now, not everything do I agree with what she say, but she say enough shit that make a lot of sense that I'd be like, niggas don't be wanting to hear that because they don't be wanting to look at their own stuff. You feel me? Because we continue. It's 2022 and rappers are getting shot. Like, that shit is crazy. That shit is crazy to me. Now, it's like, I don't understand how, like, you got killed. Like, you might as well stayed in the hood for that.
That's a fact.
You could have stayed in the hood for that. We didn't need to know you. If they're gonna kill you like that shit is crazy. And the fact that we're not up in arms about about the reality that there's something going on in the entertainment industry. How many people gotta tell us? So that when are we gonna get up and just destroy the system? You feel me? Yo, I watched this thing which Bobby Brown's sister said Whitney did not die like they said she did. So are we gonna wait till Kanye gets killed and then do a documentary 20 years later like they did Sam Cooke? Or 40 years later after Sam Cooke? Oh shit, nigga, you was about to get. Woo!
Sweet.
I'm on the internet. You gotta chill. Sit down. Have a seat. One of my godsons just came in. He just walked to my door. I was about to be like, you know, play that.
Right.
But you know, are we gonna wait 20 years later to be like the real story with Kanye? Like, he told you that the trainer was talking crazy to him. Like, yo, I'm gonna send you to the psych ward if you don't ship up. Like, huh? When are we gonna be like, yo, enough is enough? You feel me? And I think it's because we still haven't had a true revolution. See, because you can't use the Civil War. They wasn't fighting on, we wasn't fighting. They was fighting on behalf of their own agenda. And we just, we got a perk out of that shit. Feel me?
Right.
Like, you know what I'm saying? So when are we going to necessarily look at the system and be like, yo, hold up, man. Y'all can't kill another young black man that entertains us just because they're not playing y'all game no more. You know what I'm saying? Like what is the tipping point? Because we have a tipping point about George Floyd, and I'm not honoring that nigga. I'm sorry. I'm not fitting to tell my children he's not a story. He's not Rosa Parks. You heard? You feel me? He ain't Rosa Parks. Like, nah, son. You was getting high, passing funny bills, and you got booked. Oh well, you should have complied. Feel me? And I'm not even really sure that you dead because you was a porn star. That's a whole nother story. You know what I mean? We gotta look at it as it is. You're a porn star. Like how easy it is for y'all to play, you know what I mean? So now, you know, like I said, because this camera thing has become our reality. We think if we see it on the screen, then that shit happen. Right?
Definitely.
And they got apps that change your face and put it on somebody else's body. I'm not believing nothing I see on the camera no more.
Right. Right.
What's crazy to me is anytime somebody got a cell phone, right?
Biggie just came back alive. They can't. Yeah. Like you see what I'm saying? Like Biggie just came back alive and shit. You see what I'm saying? I'm like, wait, like what's this? You see what I mean? Like,
yo, listen, you gotta understand that they got this shit so crazy that motherfuckers don't really know what's going on. So you see you ever notice that every time the nigga is filming something, when the ratchet shit happens, the phone go down? I'd be like, yo, you videotaping, why you ain't? Every time the phone go down to the moment, so now we got this question, who shot the person? Well, we saw the shit unfolding, but we don't know what really happened. I'm just suspicious of everything, son. You feel me? With good reason. With good reason. Right? Because I watch my own people look there and say the dumbest shit about shit. Like, my nigga, you can't think that. You can't possibly think that. Are you serious? Right? They got us pushing narratives that we will clown our own people. There are jokes about O.J. Simpson, Whitney Houston, right? And they like, nah, son, she was fighting for her life in that room. You heard? She was fighting for her life in that room. That's why the room looked like that. And so then you got to go back and think to yourself, what would make Kanye and Pusha T pay for that picture? They paying for that picture because they trying to tell you something. They leaking shit to tell you, like, look, this is your princess. What in the world would she be living like this in a fucking 5-star fucking hotel? You tell me. Why would she be living like that in a 5-star motel? That's some crack trap shit. Like for months, a motherfucker been living like that, and you can't live like that in no 5-star hotel because they come and change the towels every day. They're gonna clean the joint up.
And they downstairs. Everybody's downstairs celebrating. What they celebrating downstairs? After Clive and them told you worth more than me dead than alive. To your face.
Right. And so now we're gonna sit here and act like they ain't killed Michael, that they ain't killed the artists, that they ain't killed these people. This nigga, I'll be sure just walk about a fucking coma. But he was like, yo, something happened to my baby mama. They was like, all right, son, take a nap real quick. And the shit is right there for you to see. It ain't like, you know, it's not like we in the times of like newspapers and hearsay. The shit happening in real time on the Black Mirror, like happening in real time. It gotta make you a little bit. Yo, let me tell you, my life has never been the same from when I read Behold the Pale Horse. Right? I read that book in 1992. when they said that George Bush Jr. would be the president of the 2000 election, I remember being in the streets, and my mom was like, "Oh," she was talking something about the candidates, and she was like, "George Bush will never be Jr. will never be the president." I was like, "Who's running for president?" She was like, "George Bush Jr." I said, "Oh, that nigga gonna be the president." She's like, "What are you talking about?" I'm like, "I read that shit in the book." And I remember the chapter. It was Modern Day Monarchy. They were talking about how this nigga fucking George Bush Sr. was running that motherfucking the presidency the whole time Reagan was in and all that, right? And when he won, I was like, "Oh, the fix is in. Everything is suspicious now," right? My introduction to YouTube was the JFK shooting reel that they're trying to say is fake now. Word. Nah. I seen that and I walked home and I was spooked. Like, yo, they did that in front of everybody. Niggas ain't see that. Oh, they magic is real good. Right? So now leading into their magic, what would make you Jesus Christ motherfuckers think that these niggas believe in the Bible? You are out your mind. They are doing witchcraft to you every day. Yo, do you know how many white folks was in the little voodoo store? Come on, man. Stop playing with me. It was only me and my wife and another couple on the tour to see Marie Laveau. The rest of them was white folks. You heard? So these niggas, I watched something, they had some panel on these young black people was there talking, this dude was talking about Jesus Christ. In the words of Kaba Kamena, he said, "Where are the bones? Nigga, they got dinosaur bones. Why they ain't got Jesus Christ or any of them niggas' bones? Ain't nobody put a marker where these niggas live? Come on, son." And niggas be using this book to this day. They arguing on a certain person's channel about whether or not they Jews or not. Yo, son, if you don't get on out of here with that shit, not when the system that I propagate is what powers your fucking entire technology. My divination system of Ifa is what powers this entire conversation that we having right now on this internet. Nobody else's religion have anything to do with what's going on in the future. But you telling me about Muhammad and this, what? If you don't get out of here with that shit, I'm not a Jew. And I don't care to be a Jew. You know why? Because I'm not into being God's favorite. I don't care to be God's favorite. I am a part of God. I don't need to be his favorite. Because some shit is essential. It ain't got to be your favorite part. The asshole ain't a lot of people's favorite part, but that shit is essential. How about that? So I don't need to be God's favorite. You feel me? What? Nah. I don't need to be God's favorite. No, I don't need, and my God is not a real estate agent. He's not like, yo, I got this land for you. They've gone crazy about some land that ain't even fruitful. Knowledge. That shit ain't even fruitful. Ain't no fruits and vegetables growing out of that shit. This shit is a desert. And niggas is arguing over that shit. So that at this point, I'm like this. The Palestinians are stupid. Why the fuck you just don't leave? Why ain't none of them Arab countries ain't gave y'all niggas some sovereignty? Huh? I mean, think about that. Y'all arguing about some fucking little bit of land. No, all these Arab countries around it, none of them was like, yo, listen, man, stop arguing with them niggas. Come on over here. We're going to give y'all some y'all own shit and y'all can have your own Palestine. You heard? That would be like right now, the gentrification going on in Bedford-Stuyvesant, niggas start motherfucking going to war about some shit that ain't belong to them. You understand? Yo, these crackers moving in, son. We're going to start throwing rocks at them. blowing up buildings and shit. Word? Like, huh? Man, just move. And so when you realize this shit is all just a shell game, I ain't got too much opinion about nothing else that I cannot specifically affect. You know what I'm saying? If I can't affect it, I'm not fitting to be making us think about this shit. One of my elders, he lived to be 95 or 96. One of the last times I saw him, he put his leg over his head. He was in his 90s. There's a YouTube interview with him. His name is Chief Bay. They asked him what was the secret to his old age. He said, I don't care about nothing. If I can't fix it, I move along. I don't get, you know what I'm saying, emotional about it. Like, he was like, y'all put too much energy on stuff that you can't control. What you worrying about it for? Feel me? So I don't be worried about stuff that don't affect me directly, right? I know that ain't a white man in office made a difference about what was going on in my fucking world, other than the restrictions that he was gonna put down. That's it. You feel me? That's it. That shit ain't never enriched or did anything to my life. We will necessarily compensate for whatever fucking law them niggas make. We're gonna get around that shit. We're gonna do what we do. So I don't care about none of the politics. My thing is stop voting. Because unless you handpick a nigga and you necessarily gonna put him in your local office, ain't no sense in bothering with none of them niggas. Feel me? Ain't no sense in bothering with none of them niggas. Real talk. So I don't, this whole black excellence shit they talking, I could care less what Jay-Z and Beyonce doing with their money. It don't affect me. You know what I'm saying? I don't listen to what they say because they don't. I've been who I've been regardless. Regardless of whether or not it's a conscious shit, I'm still Oba. I still be praying to the gods. I still kill chickens. I still sing songs and we get possessed and all that good fly shit. That ain't gonna change none of that. Feel me? And the proof is in the pudding. My tradition has survived on my alpha. It has survived a communist regime. I'm not worried. You know what I'm saying? But what I do have something to say about is those who have false titles. You know what I'm saying? We gotta, because he's one of the people that be like, oh, we gotta be accountable. They was on the Breakfast Club talking about giving out lashes. Ain't nobody lashes. What kind of slave shit is that? Giving out lashes. Lash who? You must be crazy. Nah, son, I got Congo in me. No, what the fuck are you talking about? I just came from Congo Square, too. I just was in New Orleans a couple of days ago. I went to Congo Square. Feel me? I went to go see what that about. You know what I'm saying? I'm a Congo. You ain't glass who? So I'm looking at them dudes and I'm like I said, I love the doctor, but yo, son, you ain't no Babalao. You heard? And you out here doing libations and you speaking and you're not speaking the language correctly. Nah. If you're talking about accountability, you got to be accountable too. Stay in your lane. When you want to do that, you hire somebody that do that. Let them do the libations and talk that talk and pray for the ancestors. You're not qualified. Know what I mean? You a psychologist. I'm good with that. Tell me about that. Tell me about no spirituality. And there's a bunch of them out there like that. Black Witch Yaya. There's a bunch of them out there. They just be going crazy with, and they take from my tradition because it's low hanging fruit. Oh yeah, the Orishas, right? The ancestors, because that's a buzzword now. The ancestors, like the ancestors. Oh, okay. Who? You're talking about hordes of people. It's probably more dead people than there is alive. Right? That's just the fact. People been dying more than they've been giving birth to, right? So it's more dead people than it is alive. So who are you talking to? Because niggas be killing me with that shit. They be like, oh, spirit told me. What spirit? What his name? Nigga be like, spirit told me. I be like, what spirit? What his name is? These niggas is crazy. Talking about spirit told me. Oh, spirit is telling me. What spirit? Yo, listen to me. Listen to me now. I promise you. I got 17 years initiated with Shango in Cuba. I got 45 years in the tradition. You heard? I was born in this shit. Okay. Of the 17 initiated years, I probably have had a handle on half of my spiritual court. It probably took me the greater part of 10 years out of 17 to get just to cut the surface on my spiritual court, to be able to be like, oh, there's this spirit that does that. This, you understand? So when I see these people and they're like, yeah, because spirit told me, I'd be like, what spirit? Because as far as I know, spirits, they all don't get along. They all don't be on the same fucking page. Let me just tell you that. One be like, nah, don't do that. Feel me? Be like, yeah, it's all right. It's going to be good. Niggas be like, nah, son. Right? So how you, who just came out the blue, going to decipher all of this because you read 2 or 3 books, you burned some incense, you had a crystal, you went and got your chakras photographed, and now you ready to go. Okay. Right? And so I'm like, all right. No, I'm dead serious. Yo, listen to me, man. It'd be like, yo, and I've been trying to explain to people, take your time. This thing is not, it's called evolution, evolving. Right? It's not instant. It's not you just wake up and all of a sudden now you got the answers. Take your time. If you take your time, won't nobody be able to fucking hoodwink you, because, so like for me, my problem be, I got people that be mad because I don't initiate them motherfuckers. Feel me? They be like, oh, I'm ready. Nah, you ain't ready. Sit down, have a seat, because you don't even understand the first dynamics of this. And I'm going to tell you that a lot of my decisions are based on the fact that I got shrines to take care of. So I can't just get up and do anything that I want to do. And that becomes first. So if your lifestyle doesn't necessarily afford you to give the attention to this, then don't pick it up. Don't pick it up, because you're gonna put yourself in a deeper hole. Right? So I'm telling people, before you go and let the Nigerians give you Ifa and this one and Egbe or Oriate, before you let the Spanish people give you all kinds of stuff, or the Haitians, whoever, get yourself a glass of water and a candle. Work that shit out first. You understand? Work that out. Clean yourself up a little bit before you start trying to necessarily commit to things that you're not really sure about. You know what I mean? And that's with anything. I wouldn't tell them, like, if it's your first year in college and you never heard of Omega Psi and all of this other stuff, then you should do your research before you just join. Because you might join the Q Dogs and you really an alpha. You feel me? And so niggas be so quick to jump in. Everybody's spiritual. Everybody throw tarot cards and And it'd be like, yo, 10 years ago, you didn't even know this shit existed. 10 years ago, we'd have had this conversation. Oh, voodoo. Oh, man, get the fuck away from me with that shit. Right? Now you throwing tarot cards and your chakras are in line. I'm like, come on, man.
Looking at you like you was from outer space. You was from
Yeah.
outer space. Like, what are you talking about? Like, nah, they was dealing with what was the joint? What was the serpent in the rainbow? That's a frame of reference from that part. You see what I'm saying? So from serpent in the rainbow to skeleton key, you see what I'm saying? To whatever that was nowadays, they had Amari and the sister in there. And she was talking about the Booker T's and all of that. You understand what I'm saying?
Yeah,
Like,
yeah.
From that time span, it's like 40 years time span. Cinematically, this is what you know. So if you old enough to remember Serpent in the Rainbow, you see what I'm saying? Or you got this other, or you might have got a little bit from Devil's Advocate. You understand?
And then you got some from Skeleton Key.
Skeleton Key, or you see what I'm saying? Or this latest one. You know what I mean? Like, this is it. This is all that's out there. So your mind is with that. So this modern day shit where this is what it sounds like. You see what I'm saying? Like, okay, it sounds okay. It sounds socially acceptable for you to be running around speaking like that.
Right, but then what happens is they get into it and it don't fit them perfectly. So what happens is, so they'll get into it and they're like, oh, I don't really like killing the chickens, right? So now they're gonna try to change it, make some new shit, right? And I'm gonna give your listeners, see, because I'm gonna tell you something. These dudes be jacking, and they be jacking my lingo, and then they be trying to push me down into the bowels like I don't exist. And just recently, right. I did something that was unconscious, but allowed me to see the feedback, allowed me to see what was really going on, right? So I had bigged up somebody that I don't really care for, but I bigged them up because they were speaking about something that they know. But I also said something about a theory that I had heard from some other people. And then later on, this person did a whole thing on this theory. And I'm like, but I didn't even come up with this shit. Somebody else came up with this theory, right? So I be having to necessarily timestamp some shit because niggas will get to saying some shit I said 5 years later and acting like they reinvented the wheel, right? And they don't have the context of where I got the reference from it from. But anyhow, so one of the most important things about all of this spiritual stuff is that a lot of stuff is misinterpreted. Okay? A lot of stuff is misinterpreted. So, if I told you that the Garden of Eden is in the ocean, huh? The Garden of Eden is in the ocean. Okay? The story of Adam and Eve is about amphibians making a decision between X and Y chromosomes. So that when they came on land, that they would definitively be male and female, because in the water, it's easier to be androgynous. You understand? Right? Because, you know, semen is water-based. The eggs, all of that stuff is water-based. So that this is why you have creatures in the ocean that are asexual. They don't require any male or female. They just reproduce, right? So the story of Adam and Eve being cast out of the Garden of Eden is talking about when amphibians or fish came out of the water and began to breathe air and have an atmospheric existence as opposed to an aquatic experience. You understand? Because everything in the ocean is there. It's fruitful. And nobody's starving in the ocean. You heard? You ain't never seen nothing that was dead because it starved in the ocean. That's not going to happen. Right? So we're talking about the Garden of Eden where it was perfect was in the ocean. It's when life came out of the ocean and began to breathe that we had to begin to deal with this choice, right? So a lot of this stuff, these dudes don't have the reference to where they get these ideas from because they didn't study this stuff. You feel me? And you get people talking about things that they don't really know what they're talking about. So I don't talk about what happens when you die. Fuck if I know. I have a traditional belief that we have rituals that we perform and we have an idealism of how the afterlife occurs and what, you know what I'm saying? But I don't fucking know. I ain't never died. Right now I've been, then my shit died and they brought me back. I didn't see no light, no tunnels and no shit like that. Right? That's everybody's experience is different. But I'm not fitting to tell you about death. Right? Now, I talk about spirits because I talk to them. Period. Anybody that ever came and sat and got a reading from me would tell you, oh, that nigga be telling you some shit that he will not have no rhyme or reason to know or anything like that. I didn't look you up on the internet. This shit talking about how you behave. Because this nigga talking. It kills me when I hear these dudes talking about shit. You don't get possessed. You don't speak to spirits. What the fuck do you know? You understand? Like, and you gotta understand that this is something that psychologically, I'm from fucking Gates Avenue. I'm with the wolves. I have a very pragmatic thinking mind. But yo, son, I get possessed. And when I come to, this spirit be done said some profound shit. I don't know how this happens. I don't know why it happens to me. But I know I was chosen for this, right? So I'm looking like when these dudes talk about this stuff like it's just novelty. No. I had to deal with a lot of psychological issues in my younger days trying to make sense of something that people was telling me didn't make no sense. You feel me? So I had to go through a psychological journey so that I have my sanity, that shit didn't drive me crazy because it can. It'll fuck with your reality because you miss time and space. So if I'm possessed and I don't know what happened and I've been possessed for 3 hours, I've lost 3 hours. The last time I was here, it was 12:30. Now it's 3-something. The fuck with, right? If anybody's ever had a blackout or been drunk or had a blackout or anything like that, that shit will affect you. You'd be like, damn, like you lost that time. So this happens to me as a phenomenon that happens not quite often, but enough that I could wake up and we done went somewhere and it was daytime, and when I come back to it's nighttime and people done left or new people there. I'm like, when the fuck did you get here? Right? So this is not novelty. This is not hypothetical, because this is how they talk about my tradition. So you get all of the scholastic people talking about shit that they've not involved themselves in. Right? So until that phenomenon has happened to you, then you don't really get to talk about it. The same thing, even on the other end. When you have somebody that's possessed and they before you and they are prophesizing some shit or telling you about some stuff that only you and God knew. So to combat all of that, I've been, like I said, it's a slow journey. I am, because I'm forgotten in this conscious conversation. You feel me? They don't bring me up because I'm not fitting to argue with no Hebrew Israelites and no shit like that. You know what I'm saying? Like, real talk. I'm not fitting to argue with y'all. We're not going back and forth about some book that shit is not historical. Should have got a bunch of rewrites to it and shit. Who the fuck niggas is standing on this book? Like, nah, I ain't doing that. So I've been forgotten out of the conscious conversation because I don't, you know what I'm saying? I'm not, like you said, I'm gonna come with the real shit. Like, nah, so why you dressing like that? You look crazy. You look crazy. White people do not put on buckle shoes, stockings, and knickerbockers and powdered wigs to profess their ancestry. You feel me? I'm gonna talk some real shit. They if they do, they get paid for it in Colonial Williamsburg. They're gonna play out the fights and all that, the battles, right? They get paid for that. But they don't normally just be putting on powdered wigs talking about, oh, my ancestors, I was feeling like George Washington today. No. They don't do that. They named the street after George. This is George Washington Way, nigga. Remember that. You say his name every fucking day. Huh? So I'm like, I gotta deal with these bozos, and then niggas get mad at me. Notice they get mad because I'm G-checking tomfoolery. I went back and listened to this dude, to the doctor, do libations. You couldn't have got them prayers from somebody in this tradition. And if you did, they need some straightening. You feel me? Because with them prayers is not acceptable. That ain't the language. Right? And only in Black affairs is self-qualification allowed. Only in Black affairs. You could not get on television and be like, I'm a Catholic priest if you didn't go to seminary school. Period. You cannot talk that shit before the ADL or the rabbis, nobody, if you ain't a rabbi. You can't talk. In jail, nigga, you can't talk for the Muslims if you ain't the imam. But my tradition is not considered legitimate because it comes from Africa. It comes from bare chest, leaf skirt wearing Negroes out of Africa. And so it's not legitimate, right? Because we didn't write our shit down and we didn't go on a crusade and try to fucking convert the world, our tradition is not fucking respected. You heard? It's not respected. And it's to the point where the Woman King movie was just a blatant disrespect to my tradition. It wasn't nothing.
Talk about that. Talk about. I need that. I need that. I was waiting. I wanted to see if we could do that, but
nah, that shit was not. So you gotta understand. Historically, the homie was in the business of selling slaves. That's what them niggas was doing. Okay. Now, traditionally, the Oyo Empire, they were selling niggas, you know, right? They were selling niggas based on their war effort. So traditionally, what happened was after the Malian Empire and the Songhai Empire began to deteriorate, the Moors is running around, passing through, and they not paying no taxes. They just selling shit. So the Alafin of Oyo, which is supposed to historically be Shango, he was like, ain't nobody taking care of the trade routes? Watch this. So what he did was, with his wealth from agriculture, he purchased horses from the Moors and got a cavalry. And then after he got a cavalry, he started making borders, and he started telling the Moors, listen, you come through here, you got to pay. Right? And so he started to get money from them, and this started to create the trade, brought the trade routes back. So everybody was getting money. So he was like, listen, traditionally, the Oni of Ile Ife is the sovereign ruler of all the Yoruba people. But he was like, this nigga don't do nothing. I'm out here getting this paper. He said, so y'all niggas gonna pay taxes to me. Right? And he started taxing everybody that was benefiting from the trade routes. In that, he got enemies. Some niggas like, I ain't paying you. So they go to war. Now, traditionally, if you are a prisoner of war, you become a slave because you lost the war. So now you have a certain amount of years of servitude. So they like, all right, we'll sell these motherfuckers because we got a lot of these niggas. Sell them. They're not aware of the dynamics of chattel slavery at this time. But Dahomey is. And Dahomey saw Oyo rise from slavery. And so they was like, oh, we're getting in the business of that. And so they started telling certain towns, if y'all niggas don't pay us, we're going to sack y'all town. And this is where the beef between Dahomey and Oyo came about. In the movie, they have the Oyo people looking like Muslims, which is disrespectful because the Oyos had beef with the Muslims forever. Okay? So to try to aesthetically associate them to being Arabic is a disrespect. And they only did it after the Royal Highness, the Alaafin of Oyo, passed away, and there's a new Oyo Alaafin being installed. That's the only reason why they even attempted to do that. Second of all, Ifa was not even present in Dahomey at that time. And we know this to be so because Haiti does not have divination. And Haitians come directly from the Dahomean Empire. So if they had access to Ifa and divination, it would have transferred over into their form of Vodun. They do not. Because at the time, Dahomey didn't have divination. Dahomey acquired divination after Oyo was sacked and the Babalaos betrayed the Yoruba, that they then Ifa began to spread and it spread into Dahomey. So the Woman King, the whole movie was not even, historically, that shit was it was bullshit, right? The other part is, why is it a Woman King? Why isn't a black woman beautiful enough to be a queen? Queen Elizabeth ruled. She wasn't the Woman King. She was the queen. There's a subtle innuendo that the black woman is not attractive enough to be a queen or a princess. Understand that she's the Woman King. That shit don't even make. That's an oxymoron, right? The Woman King. No, nigga, there's a queen for a reason. So the people who produced this movie have an agenda against my community, the Lucumi community. The Lucumi community is under attack by what they call the traditionalists coming out of Nigeria. The reason why we know this is because Viola Davis is good friends with our man, Forrest Whitaker. Forrest Whitaker is a Babalao. And so this movie was a pro-Ifa commercial, and it was there to try to get people to not necessarily look at the diasporic traditions as legitimate, right? And to that, I say to people, look at Nigeria right now. It's a mess. It's a mess on its own. You look at Cuba, it's a mess because of an embargo. Okay? So now, two different things going on. In Nigeria, the major or the most populated tradition is Christianity and Islam. It's not traditional. So, The Woman King was a propaganda film to delegitimize diasporic traditions here in the Americas, because there is an Ifa-centric wave coming due to the fact, like I said, that more and more people are becoming aware that the binary system that runs our computers is based off of this tradition. So anybody that's smart enough to have any understanding of physics or metaphysics, if you deal with computers, it's in your best interest to learn some Ifa, because then you'll definitely be understanding the code. You feel me? And so there is a danger in them trying to propagate quote unquote traditional African style Orisha tradition, because African style Orisha tradition is kind of outdated. It was what it was for the time and the space that the people were in at that moment, but it has progressed due to the diaspora and the diaspora's acknowledgement that there's other fucking magic going on. You feel me? And so we have to be very critical in understanding that my phone charger don't plug into the fucking outlet in England. It's a different source. So the people who bring the stuff from Africa and bring it to the United States, they bring it here without an adapter. And we're talking about things that are not idle. We're talking about things that are emanating energy. And so so it's like anything, when you bring it into a controlled environment, it has to be the correct conditions, right? Or else it'll freeze or it'll heat up and it'll be no good. So they bring in this stuff from Nigeria over here, but it's not made for these conditions. It wasn't made to be, number one, in the urban environment. Number two, on the ley line that we're on, because we live on magnetic lines, magnetic fields. And so what's to say that when you came over the ocean with it, that it didn't get demagnetized, right? And so the people, they become so smart that they outsmart themselves, because if you believe in this, then you have to have an understanding of metaphysics. And so sometimes some things get canceled out based on energy, right? So that we know, like, this is why you turn your cell phone off on the plane, because certain gadgets on the plane are affected by your cell phone, right? So we have to be cognizant of that this is not just folklore about dead ancestors and things of that nature. No, this is a very applicable science. And so this delegitimization of the diasporic traditions has a lot to do with them necessarily with white supremacy. How so? Because the tradition has been in the hands of African Americans for the last 60 years. So now if the tradition becomes calibrated to the African American experience, then the magic that they do to us doesn't work anymore, right? So I can tell you realistically, the magic that they had on me doesn't work anymore. You feel me? I don't go back to their system, right? Because when I wasn't initiated, when I was a teenager, I was in and out of their system, right? So when I got initiated, that demagnetized me to their magic. I don't live in their world, so I don't go to Mr. Charlie's fucking plantation every day to go to work, and I don't go to his plantation in the Department of Corrections, right? And a lot of young black men find it hard just to stay out of the corrections and just do the regular shit going to Mr. Charlie's fucking plantation, right? I have, effectively avoided both of those in the last 20-something years. So guess what? I know this shit work because I ain't in their paradigm. Feel me? Every time I show up here on the internet, I'm a glitch in the system. Understand that. You feel me? I'm a glitch in the system. And I say that because even having gone to a freedom school, a large percentage of the males that I went to the freedom school with have perished. You understand? So it's not just education, economics. There's also a spiritual component that I can attest to because, like I said, I'm alive, right? I come from a statistic bound area that it's very hard to escape those numbers. You know what I mean? I can't tell you that I did that just because I'm smart and opportunities. No, it was divine intervention, right? It's divine intervention. I'm even talking here right now. And that's the other part. When I got initiated, I was forged with the burden and the responsibility of doing this, right? I wasn't, if you ask Chris, I was like, nah, man, nah, son, right? But at the end of the day, every time one of my homeboys go back to jail or they get their head knocked off, I think about somebody else that I might have been able to necessarily influence and save. And so that's what keeps, you know what I'm saying? It keeps the shit going. But, you know, I ain't selling no buildings. You feel me? Niggas got a fucking block party for 2 years. That's what you got. They have a saying in Palo Mayombe, we say, Santo Tomás ve para creer. In St. Thomas, I believe it when I see it. When he got that building up and running and I see children going to school, the niggas is getting motherfucking report cards, then I believe it. You heard?
Right.
So then that shit is just fucking fodder to me. Like, all right. And I ain't selling nothing like that. I didn't sell no fake credit repairs to people. I ain't selling niggas no fake papers to be sovereign. You feel me? None of that. I'll be like, yo, just get you a glass of water and a candle, put mommy's picture up if she's not here. You know what I'm saying? Put some flowers up every once in a while, bada bing, bada boom. Right? And niggas don't be promoting that shit. And I be laughing because they be having you reading all kinds of other shit. Niggas will have you reading the numerals and the numbers in you and all this other shit and all that. That shit cool, my nigga. But like I said, the zodiac sign, they don't talk to you. Sean, go talk to me. I could go get 4 pieces of coconut and ask this nigga a question. I can't ask Scorpio or motherfucking Leo a question. They just tell me this is how I'm supposed to act. You feel me? And so I'm just amazed that niggas ain't like, word, you still talking that other shit to me? All right, whatever. I know I could talk to my guys. I interface with them all the time. I ain't gotta wait for Jesus to come. Ain't no pie in the sky for me. Feel me? Real talk. And so I just be in awe. Like niggas be talking all of this fly shit. One day, I ain't even gonna say his name. But one of them Bay niggas tried to tell me some shit on the black news. Oh, I know the Amercians because they the chakras. If you don't get out of here, if you don't get the yo, let me tell you something. Yo, real shit. Real shit. Let me tell you something. Niggas be like, the research. What research? Nigga, you ain't got no lab. Right. You don't do no lab work and you don't do no field work. Feel me? Real talk. You know, and I fund all of my expeditions. Right. You know what I'm saying? I fund all my expeditions. You see me in Cuba, I bought that ticket. You know what I'm saying? You see me in New Orleans, I paid for that gas. Right? I go and I just came from Marie Laveau's fucking tomb. Right? Me and the wife, I got to New Orleans now. We're gonna go see Marie Laveau's tomb, right? Niggas are telling me they got like 4 different tombs this year. But we went to the one that they say this year. Right? And the dude was like, she might not be in here, but you know, niggas be over here defacing the thing, blah, blah, blah. All right, cool. Right? But I fund all of that shit myself. These niggas be talking all of this lab research and all of this shit. I'm like, from where? What are you talking about? You know, the conscious community started out with doctors. Dr. Clark, right? Dr. Finch, Dr. Jeffries, Dr. Ben, right? Dr. Francis Cresswell. These were doctors. Dr. Blair. And we got into some other shit. And then shit started turning into a free-for-all. And, you know, I guarantee you, give it 10 years, there's going to be a different conversation on the Moors. Okay? Because a lot of these black scholars...
We've seen it in the last 10 years already. We've seen it in the last 20 years. If we look from the conversation about the Moors and who was talking about the Moors from 2000 to 2022, 22 years. It's completely different.
Completely different. Now, when we get into the fact that, so most people are under the assumption that civilizations require the written word, require literature. But what most people don't understand is they don't understand human history. Writing and arithmetic was not invented to record history. It was invented for commerce. Writing and arithmetic only becomes applicable to human beings when grain comes into the world. Because grain is not antiquated. You can't count it. So when you start to have, so there was a time when salt was money, you were worth your weight in salt, right? So your hand, right? But when it got down to rice and grain, now your hand is bigger than mine. So it's no equality in that. So then the scale had to be invented. And with the scale had to become record taking. And so writing and arithmetic was born. This is why the Hebrew alphabet is antiquated to numbers, because it was a commercial use. It has nothing to do with the esoteric. It has everything to do with commerce, right? So that these letters have a numerical value because they are about exchange of goods, okay? So once you understand that, then you relieve yourself of this idea that if the motherfuckers was writing some shit, then they were supposed to be smart. No. Niggas, you understand? That's not what the case was. So what you have to understand is that those who purported to be traveling salesmen or distributors of goods, right? How did they get that job? So that you look back at every civilization and you see there's a wall around the civilization. There's a wall because you're keeping somebody the fuck out, right? So there was some undesirables all throughout history. Now, when those undesirables come together, right, they don't have a homeland and they don't have any women because women are not traditionally fucking nomadic. After the hunter-gathering era of human existence, women are about being stable. So you have these bands of marauders that are going from place to place, right? Now, when they get in control, what are they going to do? They're going to kill the griot. They're going to kill the storyteller because he knows the fucking history. And now we're going to rewrite it. And we're going to write ourselves in this motherfucker, right? So when they can be talking about this grafted man, they're talking about the Sephardic and the Semitic people, right? Semitic people. Those are the byproducts of the Moors traveling through the world. And when they got to Europe, they took the white girls out of there and they began to procreate with them. And then you started getting the Sephardic people with the big noses and all that. That's where the grafted man was done. You feel me?
Yeah.
But niggas don't want to hear that because they see some black nigga with pearls on and a turban in the picture, and they see him in power, and they're like, I'm him.
Right.
Nah, son, you're not him. Because he's a marauder. He don't have a homeland. That's why they created Morocco. Because them niggas didn't have no place. They didn't come from no ethnicity. Right? And we know this because Islam, the first masjid, was built in China. In Canton, China. So that we understand that Islam, Judaism, and Christianity are unions. Hear me. The Jew is the banker, right? The Christian is the collector, and the Arab and the Muslim is the enforcer. So the Jew got the number. He said, "Nah, you niggas owe." He sent the Christian to collect, and then when the Christian don't get it, he sent the Muslims to come get that. They're gonna come put the punishment in. These are three different trade unions. You understand? Mm-hmm. That became a religion because they're based on you paying your taxes. Yeah. Ain't nothing spiritual about them shits. The Jews got together because they got tired of the Philistines kicking their ass. So they was like, look, let's all get together and make this one God, right? So everybody will be under this one flag and everybody will fight together. Right? It was a fucking campaign. That's all it was. And so niggas get caught up in this because they continuously look for themselves in a book of fiction. It's a book of fiction, in a comic book. You looking for yourself in a comic book. They ain't write you in there. You feel me? And so niggas be like, oh, I don't got time for that. I'm telling you that the Ifa system, me and you talking on this computer right now because of that system. No other religion has donated the science to the modern world. Not one. And the crazy part is, do you know that the Yoruba have their own alphabet that's older than the Hebrew alphabet? Did you know that? They have a written alphabet of about 24, 26 letters. Their own alphabet that is not influenced by any other writing system. So, when I came on the scene, niggas was Kemet. Okay. And I was like, the Congo before Kemet. Niggas was like, what is he talking about? Right? Then, a couple years later, they all start popping up with all these Congos and all of this shit. Oh, the Queen of Congo, the Queen of Luba's here now. Oh, word?
That's what they're doing.
Am I lying? I ain't putting no sauce on it.
I was there to see it. That's the beautiful thing about it.
Right. They was like, what is he talking about? No, Kemet. I was like, yo, y'all niggas can't sing nothing from Kemet. What are you talking about? And that shit is a farce. How can Kemet be the first civilization when them niggas had coins? Niggas, the cowrie shell is older than the coins. That's a human fact that the Chinese still call their coins brown cowries. So how could them niggas be the first civilization when they didn't have the first currency? You see that? Mm-hmm. Oh, they were great and all that. I'm telling niggas, you can't cut no trees down in the Congo. It's against the laws. You can't cut the trees down, so you can't build no pyramids if you got all these trees there. The trees are sacred. You can't cut them down. Right? But the Twa people could identify 3,000 herbs, 2,000 to 3,000 herbs by sight. You heard they ain't got no tablet, they ain't got no app. They just be walking through the thing and be like, oh yeah, this cure this, and this will make it die, and this one, yeah, this is good for that. 3,000 herbs. I don't even know 3,000 people on my Facebook. Feel me? They be like, what, do I know this thing? You understand? That takes a lot of intellectual power to do such things. We are caught up in the idea of the classical Greco-Roman European idea of civilization, and we apply that template to everything else and try to legitimize everything else based on that measurement. And there's people that I fuck with from this quote-unquote conscious community that be talking shit, but these niggas be talking all of that hate the white man shit, and then will continuously fucking quote some German scientists. The great German scientist, such and such Stein Bleckenstein, said, hey, wait a minute, I thought the white boy didn't know what he was talking about.
Right. All day, every day.
Which one? I'm, you understand?
Right.
And again, you gotta watch these dudes. So you have your name is based on the fact that you took knowledge of self, right?
Mm-hmm.
These other niggas that be having these monikers that are not attached to them pledging allegiance to nothing, I don't trust them. You understand? When you got your name from an organization that you pledged allegiance to, that you went through some sort of what you call a rites of passage, right? That's different because you reinvent yourself. But if you just decide that you are melanin Pharaoh Ogun, nah. Because even a street name, you don't just come outside and be like, I'm killing. Right. Nigga punch in your mouth. Shut up. You ain't killed nobody. Right? They gotta call you killer. Yo, that's my nigga killer right
Yeah, killer looking for you now.
Killer.
Right? Killers are looking for you now to see if that's true. Is that true?
Exactly. Talking about you
You're gonna have to show and prove that. Yeah.
You call yourself murder, niggas like murder who? You gotta get that name has to be given to you. You feel me? Niggas be like, yo, that's my nigga, he a stepper. Oh, okay. But you can't be like, yo, nigga, I'm a stepper. Nigga be like, all right, show me what you got. Shake it fast. Show me what you working with. Like, what you talking about? So I don't understand how everybody else could just all of a sudden, you got to move the car? Everybody else could just necessarily be like, I'm going to be who I want to be. You feel me?
Right.
Spider-Man ain't even named himself.
Right.
You know what I mean? So I'm like, yo, man, we got and you know what's crazy? So we got these values and these blueprints that we don't use. Right? Because we go deep and we start digging up shit and want to motherfucking look shit up. So Ron Karenga could be whatever Ron Karenga is. Mm-hmm. Right? But the Nguza Sabas, that shit, that's all you need. It gave you the 7 principles.
Right. Where did he get it from? Because they be bugging. They be bugging with that. You see what I'm saying? We in December. We already know what it is. You see what I'm saying? Like he was given permission. Like Malcolm was given permission. That's how we had the Organization for African American Unity.
Right.
They say he started the organization. No, he was given permission to take a charter back from Kenya.
Right.
To start a chapter in America.
Right.
You see what I'm saying? Like we just get real sick with it because, like you just said, you don't belong to nothing. You know, you just think that you could just come along. You see what I'm saying? You can pick up a bandana. You understand? Like
you can.
Yeah, you see. So that's not how it goes. He was given permission to do this.
Right.
These principles already exist from time immemorial. They live over there. That's right here. Like, what do you say? Like, keep right. Like, they're there with it. You said they live that. They're not. It's not something that we gotta wait till December to do. Like, nah. Okay, you got this there for this particular reason. There's 2 organizations that was dealing with boycotting Christmas in America amongst Black people, and they was very quiet about it.
Right.
The Nation of Islam.
Yes.
And this other organization.
Us.
So Ramadan was in December for the Nation of Islam because this is their silent boycott.
Right.
This is their silent boycott, but in the beginning of it, you was fasting in the month of Ramadan because wasn't nobody eating like that. So you dealing with high, the higher principle aspect. You're not starving now, you fasting. It's more noble. So now you doing this because all of the sadness and all of the hell that be associated with you trying to make sure your kids eat or your kids get some gifts and all that, you're not based in that consumer base.
Right.
My friend. Where somebody could come to you for jokes and all of a sudden you got a ski mask. So you stealing, right? You stealing to give gifts. You understand what I'm saying? Like, so they like, nah, we doing this over here. You see what I'm saying? So this is a prescription for the black man, woman, and child in America. We fasted in December. Right. So you working with a higher purpose. You're already only eating 1 meal a day.
Right.
You see what I'm saying? And for the ADAPT folks, 1 meal every 3 days. You see what I'm saying? And you already eating bean soup. You see what I'm saying? So this is where the bean pie came from and the bean ice cream for some dessert. You know what I mean? Like all this adaptation for a cheap bean that wasn't even a popular bean that you could readily find anywhere and be able to do what you needed to do. So you're not caught up in the world while the Great Depression is going on and motherfuckers eating each other and rats and all kind of shit in the street.
Rats.
So this is a prescription for an affliction, okay? They're not reading. You see what I'm saying? They caught out here and they think that this thing is superior to them. So it's a reformation. I can hear you now. Because if I'm hungry, I can't hear shit you say.
At all.
But if I'm fasting, I'm wide open.
Absolutely.
You see what I'm saying? So these are those aspects right there. So these are principles that was there that replaced something that was consumer-based and brought you back to your family space. Because if your whole family fasting, ain't nobody looking at each other like they're crazy.
Right.
You understand what I'm saying?
Right.
Everybody bonding together in that space. So here we got the Kwanzaa aspect in the same space. You got 7 days in a week. This should be you every day. This is you every day. You see what I'm saying? So I don't get caught up in the bullshit with the people. If the person was like you saying, why he still walking around?
Right.
Why he on documentaries and all this other shit? You ain't finna run up on him.
Right.
You can talk that talk. You ain't about to run up on him, and he everywhere. He ain't hiding. You understand? So,
right.
Miss me with the bullshit when it comes to that. You see what I'm saying? Because there's a lot of adjudication that need to be going on, and a lot of it ain't happening. Some is, a lot of it ain't happening. So miss me with the bullshit. You see what I'm saying?
The thing is, like I said, we got these 7 principles, right? And we have to be able to expound that shit beyond. So, again, I be talking about the street shit. Niggas ain't no real lot, ain't no fucking values in the streets, right? Ain't been for a long time, right? Since my generation been outside, because we should have never been outside, right? Motherfuckers don't like to come to that conclusion, but nah, that shit wasn't natural that my generation was outside selling drugs to adults. That shit was, you know what I'm saying? That shit was the end of the world. That shit was post-apocalyptic. Now, having understood that, I understand that whole mentality is not real. And so I can't continue to live my life based on some fucking edicts that are not true. Right? Like that shit's not true. Like that shit is not healthy. Right? And too much of that mentality has been folded over so that T.I. would be okay with his son talking to the people in Waffle House like that. Like, what? Yo, son, you privileged. You ain't never had a hungry night in your life. How dare you talk to some people that's working a 9 to 5 like that? And you look goofy. Right? Ain't nobody told you look goofy because you ain't around no real niggas. Because if you was in the real hood, niggas would be like, you goofy. Look, because you funny looking nigga. You'd have had to been the real tough guy, because they'd have beat you up because you look goofy, right? But he's allowed to maintain this idea of I'm tough and all that. Like, that's a part of black culture, and that's not. You feel me? It's, yo, I was at a Thanksgiving, right? So me and my wife was at my ex-wife's house for Thanksgiving. And she had some other family members there, you know, extended people. So one of her cousins' son, he a little boy, he was like, he wanted to put on a dance for everybody, right? So he was doing his little dance, and they was all giggling like the little boy was flamboyant. And I was like, he don't know nothing different. He be in the house all day watching cartoons, right? He doesn't know that that's not acceptable, because he hasn't run into the children that are necessarily ridicule him for that. But as adults, the fact that you think that your mind goes immediately to him, his sexuality, by the nuances that he expresses, what are we saying? You feel me? What are we saying? That this little boy, he don't know no bad. He don't know no fucking NWA and none of that. He don't know none of that. He be in the house. He live in the house. His mama hustled. She made it so that she don't live in the hood no more. She got a house. Him and his stepfather, they take him places. He be in the crib. He doing his little dance. He's like, yo, I'm going to do my little dance. And he's doing his dance. And some of the people was giggling and all that. And it's like, so that you get to a point where the shit is hypocritical. So Lil Boosie will say something to Gabrielle Union and Dwayne Wade about this kid, right? And then Gabrielle Union responds with, oh, you got a lot of dick on your mind. How do you respond like that? That confuses me. Because if it's okay for the little boy to be gay, then how do you use that as an affliction to him? Well, you must be gay. Why is that a problem? It's okay for the little boy to be a fucking girl, right? But it's not okay for this black man to talk about his masculinity. The fact that, yes, as a species, I should root for you not to cut the little boy fucking nuts off. Nigga, I do that just for dogs and cats. Nigga be like, yo, we're going to neuter the cat. I'm like, man, don't cut that nigga nuts off, man. Leave that nigga alone. So I'm doing that for another species. Of course I'm going to do that for my own. But the fact that she could go back and say, oh, well, you got too much dick on your mind. Huh? Wait a minute. So now, it's okay for him to be queer, but the moment you want to insult me, you use that same judgment against me. Which one is it? So that the black woman gotta have some sort of responsibility in this. Which one is it? Is he a man or is he not a man? And what defines him as a man? Because y'all are quick to say what a man is and it ain't. But y'all don't tell us what a woman ain't. Right? Because if a woman throw her baby in the garbage, she don't cease to be a woman. She's just not a good mother. Right? If a nigga don't take care of his kids, then he ain't a man. Fuck being a father, he just ain't a man. Well, wait a minute. How does that work? How are we being measured by motherfuckers that can't measure us? So now you got a whole bunch of black women that'll say, you ain't no fucking man. And my question is, how do you know? You ain't never seen one. You ain't had one in your crib. You don't know what a man is. How the fuck you gonna talk about it? So that you can't possibly say that black men don't respect black women. Every black fucking athlete take care of his mama. Yo, mama buy my mama house. The rappers, everybody. Right? So because we've had our mothers at some capacity. You women don't know how to deal with a man because you've never been around one. If your daddy wasn't home, then you don't know what it is to see a man because you don't have no fucking reference to one. And so why are you now deciding what is a man and what ain't? So is it a man because he buy you stuff and he take care of this and he put up with your bullshit and your psycho babble and all that? That's what make him a man. But then if he allow you to get over him on too much, then he's not really a man. If he's open and fluid like the young people and have sex with another man, he ain't a man. So what is the measuring stick for this? Nobody can say, because the shit is just up in the air. Now, I'm gonna say this. I'm gonna get in trouble. I don't care. You can look it up. And we've had this conversation briefly behind the scenes. Who is the house nigga? It's rhetorical. Who is the house nigga? It can't be a man. It cannot be a man. You understand that? And the reason it cannot be a man, because in the antebellum South or even in the Caribbean, ain't no swinging dicks past the porch. So what house niggas is there? It only could be female house niggas. It can't be no male house niggas. So if you take that and you internalize that, who has been thwarting our revolution? The house nigga. So I'm gonna leave the people with that one, because that one is like a Rubik's Cube. It's gonna take you a long time to get them all them colors to match. But I promise you, if you think about it, and this is I'm talking about, you can read, you read all of the slave stories, they ain't never talking about no men. It's always some women. It's always domestics, because there wasn't no swinging dicks past the porch. And we know this to be true because they castrated George Washington Carver Jr. Okay? They castrated him because he was in the house with 2 white girls. So ain't no swinging dicks past the porch. It wasn't never no male house niggas. So that fucking that character in Django is not real, because a nigga has never run the fucking plantation. They'll ever get that shit fucked up. A black man has never run the plantation. It has always been mammy. And so for them to put that, this is how they start to hit you with the psycho babble. You understand? They give you a black motherfucking superhero, and then they kill him, and then they give it to you as a woman, because only the black woman has strength in our society for you. And so the black man can't have no strength. You understand? And so when niggas look at that, put that one in their pipe and smoke that, because that's a whole different. That's gonna change everything. Who's the house nigga? Because there ain't no swinging dicks past the porch. Master ain't got no dude in the house telling them what to do. Get the fuck out of here. That ain't never happened. You hear me? Oh, Thomas here, he been here a slave. No. The problem was, then it was, the character, the hobo, right? You know, the clown, the hobo, he has tears in his eyes, and got the stick with his stuff. That's what happens to the fucking black male fucking slaves that cannot produce any further. You gotta get the fuck out of here, because we're not feeding you. You understand? And so when we talk about Reconstruction, when slavery was abolished, the women went from being slaves to being daytime domestic workers. The black man has always been unemployed outside of him working for free in this country. You feel me? So that there's never been a time that the black family was ever like the quote unquote nuclear family where the black man was making more money than the wife was. It's never been a time like that. Never been a time like that. Okay? And so we have to fix the relationships between our men and our women. And that shit is a spiritual thing, because that shit goes back to our beef with our mamas. Because Big Gregory said, he was like, I'll pay $2 million to see what are the effects of white babies sucking on black women's breasts. Feel me? There is an inherent dissension that we have between ourselves and our mothers, because historically and ancestrally, she fed the white boy before she fed us. And so she's always had this power as mammy, the archetype of mammy on the plantation, where she decides who stays and who goes. Okay? And that transferred into the days of us necessarily when they brought the welfare system and the men had to sneak out the back door so that the women could get their Section 8. I've been there before. Feel me? I've been there before. Yo, wake up. The Section 8 people gonna be here soon. You gotta get out of here. Put your stuff in the closet so they don't think you live here. You understand? So that when I said that shit on Urban X a few years back. I was like, the majority of these black men are fucking homeless. What y'all niggas talking about?
Remember that, John?
Niggas was upset. What? No. The majority of you niggas live in a dwelling that you name is not on the lease.
Yeah, we outside.
Yeah, you outside. You outside because you ain't got no place to be. Real talk, because if you ever been couch surfing, you know niggas come, they wake up and go to work in the morning. They're like, yo, homie, man, you can't stay here all day. You got to get up out of this motherfucker. So you got to go outside. Until they come home and they eat their dinner and all that, then you can slide in when them niggas about to go to bed. I've been there before. Nigga be outside like, damn. What time is it? Oh, it's only 9 o'clock. All right, they watching their little TV show. I ain't gonna go up in there. I'm gonna wait till them niggas ready to go to bed. Cause whoever I'm staying with, him and his girl, they got their routine. Niggas be homeless. You live in a dwelling, your name ain't on the lease. Let's talk about it. Right? So that most black men are fucking homeless. And that's why I said what I said. So niggas talking about reparations. I'm telling niggas, yo, they need to give us free fucking rent for 100 years. Because that is the meat and potatoes of most people's economics is having to pay for shelter. Right or wrong?
That's a fact.
So if you tell me that for black businesses, they don't got to pay no commercial fucking property taxes, and black people will be afforded to not have to pay for rent for 100 years, then maybe we'll come up. You feel me? That's the only way I see us coming up, because you can't give us education because everybody ain't built for to go to school and do nothing. And then even when you go to school, who says they're going to give you a job? Right? Don't give me land, because if you give me land, you decide what the value of it is. So you'll fuck around and be like, this land is not worth shit. And so I'll be stuck fucking with you niggas. Right? So let me not have to pay for no dwelling. Let me be able to have a fucking paperwork where I show up and I ain't got to pay no motherfucking rent. Y'all niggas gonna subsidize that shit. And the rest of this money I can stack on my own. And then in 100 years, at least my grandchildren will be fucking set. You feel me? But education, that ain't gonna do nothing. And you can't tell them, and you can't give out no cash. Don't give out no cash because niggas will be broke in a week. Let me get free shelter for 100 years. That's it. Because they ain't gonna give you no money. They ain't coming off no paper. Know that. They ain't not gonna be at the bottom of the seesaw. They're not fitting to do that. So, all right, give us free fucking shelter for 100 years. That's it. Because anything else, they ain't fitting to do nothing. They ain't giving you shit. And I don't, like I said, I don't need your education. You know what I'm saying? I don't need your education. Shit it ain't do nothing for the motherfuckers that owe them student loans now. You heard? Shit doesn't do nothing for the niggas that own the student loans right now. And
they back and forth with if they're gonna forgive it or not.
Yeah, get the fuck out of here with that shit. And then they're gonna send you to school so you could be what? A political scientist or some stupid bullshit? Get the fuck out of here with that. Now. Give me 100 years of no paying no rent. I bet you I'll be up. I know that for a fact. You heard? I know that. So, you know, like I said, these are things that they can put in their pipe and smoke it and see what comes out. They could rethink about so that these black women stop with this divine feminine bullshit and all this toxic masculinity. No, y'all got a hand in all of this shit. The little boys that put on dresses and fucking wigs, they didn't learn that from their daddies or their uncles or their brothers. They learned that from y'all. Feel me? Dwayne Wade didn't teach that little boy how to be like that. Gabrielle Union did. And that's a whole fact. Feel me? And she should really shut her mouth because she don't have a body of work that's worth anything. Feel me? You just a black mannequin. Stop. Like, stop it. Stop at 5. You know what I mean? Gabrielle, you not. No. You ain't Dorothy Dandridge or Lena Horne or none of them. Cut it out. You know what I'm saying? So the fact that she's even commenting on pop culture, she should just act like she don't hear that shit. Because you're going to fuck around and niggas boycott your little corny ass movies anyway. Feel me? Feel me? Because you ain't gonna be on nothing but Netflix anyhow. So we ain't got to support you. You know what I'm saying? Real talk. Because I found her more egregious than I would have Candace Owens.
That's a fact.
You feel me? I would find her more egregious than Candace Owens. Like, you know what I'm saying? So, and I think we like certain people should not have a say in any of this stuff. Charlemagne the God is not qualified. Feel me? Charlemagne the God is not qualified.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
Like, let's not forget that you was on the show with Wendy Williams. You was a little zesty back in the days, homie. You was a celebrity gossip columnist. Like, you wear eyeliner to this day. Son, you're not a representative for me. Feel me?
Thanks. Definitely no thanks. The rest of them neither. It's a list I could go down. They don't speak for me. I don't give a fuck what they talking about.
Oh, certainly. Certainly. Like I used to like Drink Champs, and then Nori, you started, y'all went with Revolt. I understand you gotta get the bag, but niggas ain't patient enough to necessarily plant their own seed and let it grow. You feel me? And so the quality of the people that you started to put on the show began to dwindle when y'all put that shit on television with Puff. You feel me? And so I kind of like, at this point, I ain't gonna hold you. I'm kind of like over the internet. Like, I've gotten back into reading my books and painting. Like, because I go on Instagram and that shit is a peep show. I'm like, yo, I don't understand. Like, every girl is just showing her behind. Like, as a man, you're like, yeah, but I had to explain, like, nah, my nigga, that shit could be oversaturated at a certain point. Because there's no realism to that. If I see you with your ass and your titties out, right, and there's an option to DM you, that is an illusion that we might necessarily have some way to connect. Whereas if I saw you in a magazine, I'm very clear, like, I ain't gonna see this bitch, but you look nice, right? But now you on this thing, and so now, like, it's a thirst trap. So now, and I woke up one day and all of a sudden I started seeing nipples on fucking IG, and I was like, what the fuck happened? Like, what? Did they just change all of the rules, and then all of a sudden there was just nipples all over the IG, and I was like, wow. So I'm looking at this shit, and I'm like, yo, this shit is really bad. Like, this shit is really corrupt. You know what I'm saying? Like, this shit is like 42nd Street in the 80s, like in the palm of your hand. Nah, I need to take a little break off of this shit. You feel me? This shit crazy. Like, niggas is going bananas on this shit. Like, what is going on? Right? And it's like certain things that you ask that niggas don't have no answers for because they just caught in the matrix. So that whole Bitcoin shit, I just kept asking niggas, like, but what, how do you, it's not tangible. You feel me? What do you cash it out to? Then the other part is, if the whole world is on this Bitcoin shit, then how do you have cheap labor? Because the Bitcoin got to equal the same thing all over the world, right?
Right.
In order for it to be a form of exchange, correct?
Definitely.
So how do you split a coin that's digital? How do you split that? If niggas couldn't answer that shit to me. So now guess what? Now the crypto niggas is dying off, right? They're killing these niggas off, right? And the convenience. I said this on one of my lives. Convenience is a motherfucker. Niggas better be careful about convenience. It's convenient in prison.
Right.
You get 3 hots in the cot. You deal with the same shit you deal with out here. Niggas got drugs, niggas got gangs. It's the same shit in there. but you're gonna get 3 hots in the cot. You are sure that you're gonna get that. It's convenient. Niggas be wanting shit to be too convenient. You better be careful because your convenience could become your fucking imprisonment.
Shit. These surrogates out here, nobody left the house. They showed it. They show it to you before they do it to you.
Yeah.
Yeah. They're like, yo, concentration camp. They ain't got to do shit.
Nigga, you walk right into the concentration camp. They take COVID. And you was like,
you get the Oculus on and you got the virtual reality shit going on. They could come kill you in your house.
So they said that they got a thing with a virtual reality thing that will kill you in the game if it wants to. I said, well, who the fuck want to play that? I could go outside for that. Yo, who the fuck want to play a game where there's only one player and you just gonna die? I could go outside for that. I could pick any hood and I could just walk through there and say some stupid shit to niggas and see if I get out of there. That's the game. Let me go to the bluff and tell the nigga, yo, suck my dick and just start running. Nigga start firing. Let me see if I get out of here. Like, why would I play some shit that could potentially kill me? Like, what is y'all doing? And this is what I'm saying. At a certain point, humanity has to be like, yo, line all these super smart niggas the fuck up and kill these niggas. You want to make a new son? Kill this nigga. But well, why? Why? You feel me? You want the robot to have feelings. Man, kill this nigga, man. What is he talking about?
Right.
Get out of here. Right? Because the niggas, and so, yo, we are slowly walking into fascism. Motherfuckers don't even realize that shit. Son. This shit is fascist. When everybody jump on your ass against whatever opinion you got, that's fascism. Which then leads into socialism, and then you get to communism. Right? But, God forbid, niggas ain't read nothing. So, fuck do they know? The Cold War, that shit sound ancient to a nigga, right?
Right.
That shit was just in the 80s, the Cold War.
80s, right.
So that I'm not, yo, I don't believe Brittany Griner is, I think she was a fucking CIA agent, my nigga.
Talk about it.
Yo, you go to another country. Yo, listen to me, man. I travel a lot. I check my bag before I pack it. I check my bag at the fucking airport to make sure I ain't got no bullshit in there. You thought that you could just bring THC cartridges? You knew that shit was illegal, sweetheart. What are you talking about? That's not why they bagged you. They bagged you because you was over there doing something else that you wasn't supposed to be doing.
It's POWs still in nations that they ain't go get right now.
Yo, listen to me.
It's POW.
Mumia Abu Jamal is in prison for a case that the evidence will tell you that this nigga didn't do that shit.
Right.
And y'all sent a fucking terrorist for that bitch? My nigga, she's an agent. I don't give a fuck what the nigga's telling me. You can't kiss my ass. The WNBA, ain't nobody gonna miss her.
Right.
Right? To show you how real it is, I'm gonna show you how real it is. Remember when the white boys was over there in China writing graffiti all over the place?
Mm-hmm.
And they flogged that nigga in the motherfucking in the square?
Right.
United States didn't stop that now, did they?
No.
Right. You went and got this basketball bitch. Man, get the fuck out of here. That bitch is an agent, my nigga. Fuck out of here. You went over there trying to be super spy and they caught your big, tall, stupid ass. Nobody got no goddamn, I don't care about you. They gave up a terrorist so the nigga could go make some more bombs to go kill more people for a bitch that shoot a basketball. Y'all niggas got to be fooled. You ain't fooling me.
Right. For some shit that's going on right now. Right now. It's happening right now. You got time to pause and do this exchange and film it and all that.
Come on, son.
Yo, and
I watch spy movies, man.
She was talking to the Arab over there on the side. You seen that, right?
Yeah. Come on, son. Come on, son. Come on, son. Come on. You trying to shine on me. What do you mean? What? There's no way in the world, son. She is a fucking agent. Oh, it's so terrible. They gave her 9 years. What are you talking about? I know niggas that got, I know a nigga that got 3 years. Yo, this is a real story. I don't know if I told this on social media or whatever before. I was locked up on Rikers Island, right? With my man. Funny dude that was on the motherfucker, he was in my unit, right? So we used to call the nigga Elmo Jenkins, right? So one night, I had a little contract with some chicken. You know what I mean? The Spanish boys brought me a couple bags of chicken. I'm breaking the chicken up. I make chicken salad with mayonnaise. I'm giving out chicken sandwiches. You know what I mean? I'm feeding the people. So we having a good night. Somebody that pulled out some hooch. We had a couple sticks. We was hanging out. So niggas talking shit. So, normally niggas in jail don't tell you what they're in there for. But niggas like, yo, son, what you in here for? So my man Elmo Jenkins told me a story. This nigga said he was in a bar drinking. He came out the bar, he was drunk. He trying to find his car, but he can't find his car because he fucked up. So the nigga, he walking and some police, but he don't know that they the police. The detectives, the jump out boys. They roll up on the nigga. They like, yo, where can we find some coke? This nigga like, I don't know. Go around the corner or something. Before he make it to the corner, they jump out and lock the nigga up. So they locking him up. He's like, yo, what you locking me up for? They're like, steering. He said, I wasn't even driving. They hit him in the head. Boop, get your ass in the car. Right? He said, I wasn't even driving. Son, this nigga's the funniest nigga ever. He got 3 years for steering. He didn't have no money in his pocket. Nothing. He just coming from a bar, minding his fucking business. They got that nigga 3 years. Now, with those 3 years, he lost his apartment, his job. You understand? Okay. Brittany Griner got on the goddamn fucking plane with THC cartridges. You thought you was being slick. They locked your stupid ass up. You couldn't pay for no good Russian lawyer. The niggas gave you 9 years. My nigga, you better figure it out. I ain't got no parts in that. But the fact that we're going to give up a terrorist to get you out of jail means that you got some information for us that we waiting for you to give us. I promise you. They're just debriefing her right now. How much you want to bet? They debriefing her right now. They're debriefing her. They're going to give her the thing. They're going to put her in the front of the screen. The screen is going to tell her what she's going to say on Good Day America, Good Morning America, right? She's going to be on, what's this, Gayle King. You about to leave? No. She's going to be on Gayle King, right? She's going to be on all the shows. And then you're not going to hear from her. And she's going to be on another mission. They're going to catch her in Thailand doing some stupid shit. I'm telling you. This is the spy. Yes, anyway. This is the spy. You hear me?
I do.
And so, understanding that, I don't get caught up in that, in the media frenzy. The shit is quite entertaining, though. I ain't gonna hold you. The shit is hysterically funny. What? Nigga did what? You know what I'm saying? And I'll be like, oh, okay. And things that are just now coming to the surface, there's things that I saw 10 years ago. You feel me? I saw this 10 years ago. And I was like, oh, okay. This is where we at. So, I'll be writing my books, knowledge. We got a new book coming out, hopefully, but I don't think it'll be out by Kwanzaa because I still got some editing to do. But I got a nice coffee table book coming out on the what you call it, the Orishas. You feel me? And it's a coffee table book with visuals and some folklore and some conversation about the aesthetics of the Orishas and the symbols. You know what I mean? I'm in the process of, just like I said, it's just a matter of doing my last bit of editing right now. And because I'm using somebody, you know, I'm at the bequeath for their time. So, you know, can't rush or anything. So I'm just taking my time with that. And, you know, we still got the coloring book out there. Right. Get it, it's on the Amazon. You know, I can only do what I do. I can't really complain about it. You know, people say they about the children and, you know, they're about the nation building. My account don't, you know what I'm saying, reflect that, but it's cool. You know what I'm saying? I still, like, you know, you plant a seed, you might not ever, you know what I'm saying, climb that tree, but you still plant the tree. You know what I'm saying? So I ain't tripping about that. But, you know, it's disheartening to hear niggas talk that shit and then they don't be about that shit. You know what I'm saying?
I'm right here.
Yeah, you know.
Yeah, I'm right. I always say I wanted to preach the gospel of Jesus Christ on Pluto, so I need a rocket ship. You see what I'm saying?
Right, you ain't talking about no aliens and no Anunnaki.
None of that. I'm right here in the community from the ages of 7 to 35. That's my group. From 7 to 35. From youth, juvenile justice, turn away, destroy recidivism, to 19 to 35, prison. You see what I'm saying? Breaking that away, reducing homelessness, domestic violence situations. That's it. You know what I'm saying? I'm like, I need to raise 3,000 so I can continue to do that. That's it.
Now we're going to listen. We're going to donate. Feel me?
You know what I mean? Like, that's me. That's simple.
Now we're going to donate, and then when you donate, we're going to give you a taxable fucking refund. I mean, you know what I'm saying? Receipt. Feel me? So that you could, you know what I mean? Tell Uncle Sam to cash out. You did? So that this support is supported by financial, you know what I'm saying? Reciprocity. Right? Because that's important. See, there was a time when I was like, now I'm kind of like focused on the young people, because what they have to understand is that they are the culture. Right?
Right.
So it's contingent on what they say. See, because the little niggas, they had, so boom, it's the little niggas that got niggas running around here talking about click, bow, 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 all of that shit, right? That's their culture. Now, if that culture was something positive, then they would be lifted up behind it, right? So that they don't have to necessarily conform to anything. They have to they have to be cognizant to understand that they are tastemakers. You feel me? That this shit, everybody imitating niggas. I said that shit very early in the game. Like, yo, everybody want to be a nigga. What are you talking about? Motherfuckers come from all over the world. As soon as they get here, they get some jeans and sneakers and turn their hat backwards. They are imitating niggas, right? And I don't know no African Americans that done anything great. I know niggas that done great things. You feel me? And so I don't want to be associated with no fucking African Americans. Fuck that. I'm a fucking nigga, right? Because George Washington Carver Jr. was a nigga. Lewis Lattimore was a nigga. Harriet Tubman was a nigga. And they done great things. Feel me? So I don't have no issue with that shit. And the best way I can explain the whole white people saying this shit is, it was one of them fucking comedians, a black comedian. I forgot his name. He was on Saturday Night Live. He said, if I go out with my wife calls me honey. If another woman walks up to me and says, hey, honey, my wife might be offended because I'm her honey. So if I ain't your nigga, don't be calling me your nigga, because I ain't your nigga. You feel me? And that's how the word is used. Now, if me and a white person become cool and you my nigga and I'm your nigga, but I'm only your nigga. Don't be calling all my motherfuckers your nigga because they not your nigga. Right? And so if it's a term of endearment, then you can't just use it for everybody. Right? Because everybody ain't sweetheart, everybody ain't honey, everybody ain't babe. You know what I'm saying? And so I'm a nigga. I don't got no problems with that. I come from the projects, but I was born with consciousness. I was born conscious. I understood the system and I understood the resistance that was surmounted against me. You feel me? And so I don't got to put on a dashiki. I ain't got to put on no fucking Jesus sandals and wear no crystals and none of that. Right? I divorce myself of those things that are of corporate, you know what I'm saying? Like, if I'm gonna buy something, I bought it because the shit was, you know what I mean, functional, right? Because I'm at that age. Like, I don't wear nothing flamboyant. I wear it because it's functional, right? And that which I do wear that's flamboyant, I probably designed it, right? So, I take the power into my own hands. But I will not allow nobody to put me into a box where I become a hotep or an ashe nigga because you start to dress like that. And like I said, that shit is a sign of pathology. You feel me? It's just like the man who was secretly gay. He could talk regular until all of a sudden he come out the closet and now everything is hey girl and girlfriend. Nigga, that's a fucking psychological defect. Your preference sexually has nothing to do with how your vernacular is spoken, right? Or how your gestures or how your fucking nuances are expressed. That has nothing to do with that, right? And until we get to that point, because that shit is all for show, and that shit is a vie for attention. You feel me? These are boys that didn't have their daddies or their mamas didn't necessarily nurture them correctly, and so they have a defect, a deficit, right? In affection. They have a deficit in nurturing. And so I see that the same way when I see motherfuckers start to put on monikers and put on regalia and start to change. I remember I seen a dude one day, the nigga had a drum on his back. He was carrying the drum. I was like, oh, you play? He was like, nah, son. You know, the bitches be liking it. And I was like, what? The nigga didn't even try to learn how to play. It was like he was cool stunting with the shit. I was like, what the fuck? Yo, I ain't even capping, my nigga. I ain't make that shit up. Nigga had the drum on his back. Nigga had a big djembe. Nigga was like, oh, you play? That nigga was like, nah, son. The bitches like it, though. Word. And he was just...
He figured it out.
He had the dreads, he had the cargo shorts on, he had with the dashi, he had the crystals on.
It's a costume. It's a costume. You can do that.
Right.
You can have the costume. Yeah.
And so understand that if you go and put a nose ring on, and now you got dreads, and you natural, and you use shea butter and all that, there's a nigga out there that with the shits that he will disguise like that. And he'd be talking all that ashe and chakra shit just to get in your panties. You feel me? Real talk.
And the money's to work for everybody else who live it.
Yeah.
Yeah, they went from not touching it to trying to be hardcore devout living to ain't nobody respecting me or taking me serious, so they leave it and then they get back to whatever kind of monkey shit they had going on in the first place.
Come on, man. And I saw this. Like I've seen this happen. Like I used to go to the Kwanzaa Center because I never celebrated Christmas in my life. Never celebrated Christmas in my life, right? And so I would ask my grandma when we see them all at the Kwanzaa celebration. Everybody got the mud cloth or the kente cloth out, right? They Ashe, okay. I used to be like, yo, what's up with them niggas? And she's like, man, them niggas is afraid to kill chickens. And I was like, word. She was like, yeah, they ain't about that life. Then you see them at Dance Africa and they be all, yeah, and everybody doing the dance, Lamba and shit and all that, and then they'd be like, all right, let's go to Black Liberations, kill a goat. Niggas be like, dude, right? We eating this tofu, this chickpeas. Nigga, the fuck is you talking about? Like, word, right?
They had the tofu.
Real talk, I'm telling you. Right? You know, because I was there with the African missionary, you know what I'm saying? African mosque and all that, Muslim mosque, when York and his brother separated, when Oba went this one way and all that shit. I remember all that. You feel me? I used to see them at the African Street Festival. They had a big fucking thing. They were selling fish, French fries, and lemonade, right? Every year. I watched these groups come up. I saw the Ancestral community. I watched all of that. You feel me? Matter of fact, one of my mans that I know preached through, my man Raphael. When you speak to priests, ask him about Raphael. My man Raphael from the East used to be a bartender with me. Raphael used to be with Ansar back in the days. He one of the niggas that helped solidify the whole incense making process. Feel me? He the one that told me. He was like, yo, if you didn't sell them incenses, niggas would give you a universal beatdown. You come back with a cart and niggas is like, oh, you ain't sell nothing? Do that. You feel me? Real talk. I remember Bushwick Avenue when that shit was the whole Ansar thing was going on. You feel me? I grew up in one.
As a child, my whole family, everybody was
flavor of the month, brother. Niggas put the shit on you. Oh, come on, man. You know you want that. You know what I mean? Come on, son. Yeah.
That roll-on was on you quick. Smell that.
They'd be like, yo, because you got to understand, prior to the Ansar Allah community selling the incense, one of my godbrother's father was a part of the pioneers of the original part of that shit. So that there used to be this incense called Omonago that was mad famous. You know what I'm talking about, right? Mad Babies was born in the 70s off of Omonago. You heard?
I'm sure I was born off of
you already know. See, when I said Omonago, you knew exactly what I was talking about. My man's father used to make that brew. You feel me? Okay? So so from that is where that community saw that the incense thing was a big thing. You feel me? All of that. I was there from the beginnings of a lot of this shit that niggas be talking all of this black power shit. And I'm like, nah, my nigga, I've been there. And I saw when those guys, you know, like when they say, what's that movie? I'm going to get you sucker. The niggas was all protesting and then the niggas gave the niggas jobs. Yeah, I saw that.
Jobs, yeah.
I saw all the Babas and the Bible such and such, and then niggas was like, yeah, freedom. And then niggas was like, they gave that nigga a job. And then he's working in the system. And now he make $100,000. Now he got the brownstone. Oh, okay. You feel me? Right? I saw the dude.
It became the mayor.
Yeah.
It became the mayor, you know?
And so.
That's it.
Come on, man. The niggas and so I knew these people. You know, my grandmother was good friends with J2 Way, who seeing them guys. You feel me? I grew up in the Hurasasa movement. My aunts used to be teachers. Some of my uncles went to school in the Hurasasa Shule, okay? So I was there from that movement. So when niggas be starting to talk that shit, I'm like, my nigga, this is conscious community. You mean the neo-conscious community. This is the second one. This the second one. Y'all niggas late to the game. You feel me? You gotta understand. I'm talking about like since I was. Okay. If I get around any of my cousins and I start, or any one of my cousins start, it's like robots. One of my cousins got to be like Ja, Lay, Tu Sange. Niggas would be like praise red, black is great. The brothers that day. Open up your eyes and see we're on our way to be it. That shit is indoctrinated in me, my nigga. When niggas is talking that shit, I'm like, nah, son, my grandmother and them was a part of the whole Ocean Hill Brownsville school situation. I just was at a ceremony talking to one of my elders who was all, because the majority, and that's the one thing I can say about the African American Lucumi community, is that what fucked them up was gentrification. because they all entered into the fucking school system. Majority of the priests, a lot of them are are principals, superintendents. They got a lot to do with the Board of Education. They was trying to take over the schools, but what happens is the neighborhoods change based on the demographics and the gentrification, right? That one of my god sisters is a fucking, I think she's a principal of a school, or she might even be a superintendent now, right? So there was a lot of people that was involved in the movement that they were priests, but because of the flack of being a priest, they didn't say nothing. But these are people that was on the ground. They was out there, they was at the meetings and they was working that shit. So I had to act, so when I started to ask questions, my grandmother had to put me on like, oh nah, Ocean Hill Brownsville situation. And she explained to me, yeah, when the gangs used to show up and motherfuckers used to lock the shit down. Feel me? Because the Tomahawks was out there like, nah, y'all, you can get these white teachers the fuck up out of here. Right? Niggas don't know about the strides that motherfuckers made for education in this country. So that when you understand that, we have to now calibrate because we have suffered through gentrification. We see that wherever we go, they like to follow not too far behind. And so it's important from learning from those examples that we now, from the next communities that we establish, that we own them. Feel me? That we own them. In my humble opinion, Black people need to make a migration to the South and start opening up some of these towns and making these townships. Because that's the only way that you, with the knowledge that you have now and the defense that you have, this is where you do it. So that when you get into a town, you elect the sheriff, you elect the mayor, you elect the treasurer, you elect these people so that they will be responsible for what happens in your community. The difference, because what happens is when we moved into the cities, we became victims of the police, and police are not voted in. That is a byproduct of the municipality. When you are in a township and the sheriff has to be voted in, he is going to be responsible because he has to answer to you, right? So you be like, yo, sheriff, yeah, weed is illegal, but you're not going to be pulling my kids over for fucking weed every time, or we're going to have a problem. He going to stop doing that. You feel me? He will begin to what's this? There's a famous saying, oh man, I forget who is it, but there's a recording that's on one of the Rick Ross albums. And he talk about power is the ability to make that pig stand down. Because once you have that power, then you exact your power, right? And so we have to understand that in order to have the power, you got to necessarily create your own. So it's time for us. We had a great migration after fucking Jim Crow to all of the major cities. We need a great migration back to the South. You feel me? And create these small townships where we are the sheriff, the mayor, the treasurer, right? And head of the school board, all of that. That way, you can essentially deputize your own town. So somebody come around this motherfucker talking stupid, you deputize the whole town, man. This nigga come around and talking stupid, shoot his ass. You feel me? Because in this town, that shit is not allowed. And we're gonna prosecute and all that because we have our own fucking court system. Right? We have to use the understanding of the segregation that fucking Elijah Muhammad and the niggas told us to practice. We don't need to be around these fucking pilgrims. They don't like us. And there's no reason to be fucking, desegregate them and try to be around them. No. Have our own shit. You feel me? And let them come looking for us. And when they come looking for us, then we charge them. Because you know what I learned? So when I was in New Orleans, one thing I learned is that white people love to party. You think niggas like to party? No, white folks love to fucking party. I was on fucking Bourbon Street on a Tuesday and a Wednesday, and it was popping. You hear me? It was popping from one end to the next. Because white folks was out there spending their money. So if we understood that, so back in the days, there was a time when white people used to just come to Harlem to get vice. Right? Imagine if that shit was organized. Imagine that when you got to 110th Street, it was a blockade. The niggas look in the car and see a white person and be like, yo, where you going? Or no, you got to pay for a guide. What are you looking for? You want some prostitution? You want some drugs? All right, you got to pay the guide. And the guide going to take you where you need to go and all that. He going to make sure that you get the fuck up out of here at a certain time. Right? Because as the sun downtown, we on some different shit. This is when the sun is up. You got to get the fuck out of here, cracker. You heard? We were supposed to necessarily monetize the vice that they came looking for in our neighborhoods for. You feel me? To make them niggas pay. Because you come into my neighborhood because you don't want your family to see you in this vice. So you trying to practice this vice in my area, and you should pay for that. So we gonna be the Disneyland of drugs and prostitution. You got to pay. You don't just walk into Disneyland. You got to get you a wristband, right? And they don't allow you to certain places. You did, and so we didn't do that because we are at a moral conflict with each other because the Black church believes that fictional book. They believe that book. Feel me? As opposed to because if you think about if the 1970s and 1980s, if the Black vice was supported by the Black church, we wouldn't be having this conversation right now. We wouldn't be having this conversation right now.
The Black degeneracy is supported by the Black church, not the Black vice anymore. It used to be.
Right. But if the vice was supported by the Black church, we would be invincible right now.
That's a fact.
You heard? Because every other ethnic group comes here and stands on the backs of the people of vice to bring their community up. From the Chinese, the Arab, every kind of European that's ever come here, right? Every kind of Caribbean and African that's ever come here came on the back of vice. The African Nigerians are here because of heroin. Okay? The Caribbeans are here because of marijuana. Let's not get that shit fucked up. You heard? They all sold weed. They knew somebody that brought weed in on a boat and motherfuckers distributed this shit and they had a handle on that shit. The Caribbeans lost control of the marijuana when the hydroponics came into play. Let's be clear about that. You feel me? And the hydroponics were cultivated in the hills of Virginia with the hillbillies. Feel me? Because they weren't selling liquor. Bootleg liquor wasn't making them no money no more. So then they began to grow marijuana. Let's talk about the fact that the Ashkenazi Orthodox Jews in the last 20 years came up off of ecstasy in our communities.
Right.
That the Jews in Williamsburg with the funny hats was bringing fucking millions of pills of ecstasy back to Brooklyn.
Right.
But we are our own worst critics. You feel me? We are our own worst critics. We talk about ourselves like, you know what I'm saying? And
you know what they're promoting because they'll push it through the music.
And this is why I'm saying at some point we got to tear the music shit down. That's why I'm not a fan of all these rapping niggas. I don't like none of them. Fuck them all. You know why? Because my whole generation paid for it. So, sidebar. I'm mad at Doggy because I sent him a DM. Because I watch these dudes have all of these stories about Mr. Shakur and all that, right? And I was like, yo, why is nobody talking about the fact that at that Quad Studio situation, he shot himself? Right? And niggas think I'm crazy because I keep going back to that, but he's the biggest icon that has to do with thuggism in this fucking society right now. And when you get to the bottom of it, that this shit was all a farce. So when I sent it to him, I'm like, yo, son, like, why ain't nobody talking about the fact that this nigga shot himself? So he was like, whoa, those are big, you know what I'm saying, accusations. Can you confirm that? So I sent him the link with the nigga fucking Fab Five Freddy. And Fab Five Freddy got the fucking recording in the Stretch. And Stretch is like, yo, my nigga only heard one gunshot in that robbery. Right? And it's understood that he tried to pull the gun and he shot himself. So you didn't take 5 shots. So when you talking to Nas talking about you took 5 shots like me, you lying, you capping. And the fact that you started a war with a man who told you not to fuck with them niggas. Nobody's talking about that. You cannot raise this nigga up to be a gangster. If you ask me, he's Tekashi 6ix9ine is just the modern day him. Because he deals with no accountability. I do what I want to do. Fuck what y'all niggas say.
Oh man, I love it. I'm telling you.
Now, I never said this on. I said this over my own life, but I'm gonna say this over your shit because I fuck with you. So niggas be like, yo, why you always going in on him? I'm gonna tell you a situation. This is real shit. Niggas could check it. In 1994, me and my homeboys was going to war in my neighborhood. We was going to war with niggas from the other side of my projects. It was like a real beef. That this shit was gunshots every day. That the community reached out to Sonny Carson. Sonny Carson and them niggas had us come to the Bed-Stuy Boxing Center in my projects to have a truce between us and the niggas from the other side. The second truce, Sonny Carson and them thought it was a good idea to bring Tupac in. Now remember, this is in April of 1994. He has not been shot in Quad Studios yet. You hear what I'm telling you? And anybody in his entourage that was around him at that time can confirm it. This ain't no bullshit. Because my best friend's father, Basia M. Chowie, who's on WBAI, was there. Because he helped he was with Sonny Carson and them when they got Tupac to come to the fucking neighborhood to talk to them. So Tupac comes to the neighborhood. All of my homeboys in my crew, they all rap. Them niggas rap circles around everybody. And so it's us on one side of the boxing center, the niggas from the other side on the other side, and Tupac sitting in the middle. And he's talking to us. And he's talking to us about Thug Life. And how Thug Life is this universal organization that we're going to combine the Mexican gangs with the black gangs, and we're gonna have like these red light districts like they were talking about in The Wire. It was a real utopian idea. He's saying all that to us. We are not responding because that shit ain't got nothing to do with the fact that my man done got his head blown off. We like, what? So we hear him talking all this. He's telling us that we should let this ride, that it's bigger than us. It's about black and brown and this, that, and third. Okay. When he finishes talking to us, he don't come and give us no files. He don't smoke a blunt with us. He don't want to hear none of my homeboys rap. He get the fuck out of there. 9 months later, you in a fucking robbery or botched robbery. Then a year later, it's fuck the East Coast. It's fuck Bad Boy. It's fuck everybody. But you wasn't saying that to us when I was 16 and we was sitting there listening to you. You was telling us that my man got killed, that we should let that ride on the strength of red, black, and green. But now you done forgot all of that. I can't respect him as a man, son. I've been in his presence. He's not a fucking gangster. He never was. You heard? And I put that on my dead mama. Anybody that want to necessarily critique this story, you could go back, and I promise you, and I know it was in April of 1994 because my man got killed in March 30th of 1994, March 29th of 1994. So not long after that, and the proof is in the pudding because when they asked us what it is that we wanted, we was like, we want a mural and a mock funeral for my homeboy because he ain't had no family. So on the corner of Marcus Garvey and Madison is two of my homeboys, Derek Todd Alexander and Italo M. Chowie. Okay? And they've been on that wall since 1994. Right? And that was by way of Sonny Carson and them. So niggas can't tell me nothing about Mr. Shakur because I've been in his presence. And the nigga ain't, you know how they be talking about how niggas, oh, they real hood, they want to be. That shit is a lie. That nigga did not smoke a blunt. That nigga did not dap me and my homeboys up. That nigga got the fuck up out of there like he was in Rikers Island and he had to leave from doing a fucking lecture. You understand? And that's real talk. So that's why, as a man, when niggas go, oh, he was only 25, nigga, I was 16. And at that time, I understood that what he was talking about was way beyond his fucking reach. Talking about niggas having a black and brown thug life. And then when he got shot, the nigga was like, yo, I'm dismantling thug life. I don't believe in that no more. Nah, son. We can't go there. And I don't want more black babies to be put in caskets, running around acting like fucking men who wasn't raised by fucking men, to be running around here killing each other. The next nigga that tried to tell me about a man that wasn't raised by one, get the fuck out of here. If your daddy wasn't around to tell you nothing, nigga, you don't tell me shit about being a man, nigga, because I had my father till I was 19. We ain't going, you understand? And so these young black men are being led by niggas who was fucking raised by women. You heard? They got women's ways. And niggas is telling you that they are the fucking blueprint of what it is to be a thug. Get the fuck out of here with that shit. The fuck out of here with that shit. And not when I found out that the nigga Snoop Dogg and the niggas is on Interscope, and Interscope is on fucking owned by Seagram's Gin, and the first fucking song is fucking Gin and Juice. My whole fucking young adult life is a fucking farce. That shit is fake. This shit is what they call that? Is subliminal fucking marketing. You heard? Right. To the point that I was telling niggas that to the point that now they marketing the pistols, because I didn't know what a Draco was till the little niggas start talking about it. I didn't know what a 9mm was until I heard KRS-One talk about it. Let's talk about that. Let's talk about the fact that Scott La Rock was murdered, assassinated. And then the entire gangster rap situation was transplanted to the West Coast, to a bunch of niggas who was really actors. Huh? That Crazy Bone got on fucking camera and said, yeah, my niggas told me about a motherfucking meeting where niggas was told that they was gonna buy stocks in the prison industrial complex. Like, what are we talking about here?
Right.
I went to, let me tell you something. It's just so weird. I went to school with Prodigy and Havoc. Let me explain something to you. I went to school with them niggas. Like, I knew Key One like on some like smoke cigarettes and blunts in the bathroom and shit. Key One, Muchita, Havoc used to write the rhymes for Prodigy. Their first album, the majority of that shit was written by Havoc. Their first album, Juvenile, majority was written by Havoc. Explain to me how the fuck before that Prodigy had a song on the Boys in the Hood soundtrack. Right. They picked these niggas. You hear me? He had an album, he had a song on the Boys in the Hood soundtrack. He couldn't rap there because the nigga Key One was writing his rhymes. So how is it that you had a rap song that got on a fucking soundtrack for a major movie? Why is it that I go back and I listen to Lil' Kim Hardcore album and the bitch say something about a plan B and that shit didn't come out till the 2000s? Explain that shit to me. Huh?
That's a fact.
Niggas can't explain that, and niggas is just going on like this shit was organic. No, it wasn't. There was fucking white boys with funny hats on the back of their head telling niggas what to say. So that when we go all the way back to Rush Management, it always been some kind of motherfucking Judaic nigga behind the scenes. You can't explain to me why Leo Cohen has anything to do with hip hop. There's nothing hip about him. He never looked hip. He always looked like a white man.
Right.
He always looked like a white man. He didn't look like he was hip, that he was hanging out at parties with niggas sniffing coke and smoking weed. What the fuck are we talking about? He always looked like a square. Why does he have a lot to say about this fucking culture? Culture vultures, like they said. right? But I can't really get with Dame because you waited till the motherfucker till the faucet was turned off, and then now you want to talk that shit. When you was up under the motherfucking faucet, it was all good. You niggas was selling us jeans and sneakers, and telling us how to live and how to do all of that. Now when the shit dry up, now you want to tell. Nah, that's why I gotta respect Kanye, because he told while the faucet was running.
Mm-hmm.
He like, nah, son, this shit ain't correct. These niggas doing some bullshit at an expense. These niggas don't wait. They wait till the money decline, and now they want to say something. You ain't hear nothing from Coolio for fucking 40 years. This nigga all of a sudden, he pop up talking about, oh, the nigga doing some funny shit. Oh, okay. Right? But you wasn't smart enough to write a tell-all book before you died. You understand?
Drop dead in your homie bathroom.
Right. Because the niggas done gave you a bad motherfucking line to clean. Let's talk about it.
Mm-hmm.
So, I'm against this because me and Rashid was talking about this. Hip-hop cannot be a culture. And the reason why it cannot be a culture, because a culture has certain things that dictate a culture. Language, diet, moral etiquette, right? Now, we know that hip-hop can't be a culture because wherever it goes, it adapts to the culture that's there.
Right.
Or else you wouldn't have Southern rap. Everybody would rap like they from New York, because that's where the shit come from, the culture, right? No. Niggas, wherever it goes, it adapts to it. So it can't be a culture. You understand? It can't be a culture. And so we keep lying to ourselves, oh, the culture of hip-hop. No, that shit ain't no culture. And it's the fact that the shit was derived by some fucking CIA niggas. Nah, son. I can't continue to buy into that shit. Not when every little nigga I know talking about, yo, son, my mixtape coming out. My nigga, are you serious? Is this Christmas? Because everybody's rapping.
That's it.
Nah. So that, to this day, niggas don't do but two things. Niggas go to the ball court, or they go and try to get their mixtape on. Or they want to try to sell me some clothes that they just printed some shit on and somebody else manufactured this shit. Yo, come on, man. Feel me? I was selling t-shirts in like 1996, my nigga. You feel me? And so I'm looking at niggas like, oh yeah, my clothing line. Oh, okay, it's just the image and some shit. Now you just posted it all over the place. So I'm supposed to just get a sweatsuit and a bucket hat, and that's it.
Yeah. That's it.
You can't draw. I couldn't get you to draw a stick figure, but you're gonna be a designer now. Man, get the fuck on out of here with that bullshit. Yo! That's like me trying to start a band, my nigga. I don't read no fucking music. What are we talking about? Yo, I'm a musician. I can't play the fucking piano. I don't know a fucking key. I'm gonna tell you I'm a musician. No, my nigga, niggas be doing too much. Feel me? And getting away with too much because niggas be having a short motherfucking vocabulary for shit. Niggas just be letting niggas get away with that dumb shit. Yeah, I'm a designer now. A designer of what, nigga? You got somebody else to draw the fucking figure for you. Then you put the shit on the thing, and now you put it on a t-shirt. You're trying to tell it to me. Okay, you can't tell me about the quality of the t-shirt. I probably washed the shit 3 times and it's gonna be finished. But you're gonna try to charge me motherfucking Macy's prices for it. Yo, cause my IP, yo, son, fuck out of here, my nigga. So I'm just not buying into the bullshit at this point. You feel me? And so I'm gonna continue to sell my books. Those who are smart enough to go read the book and see the tutorial, they will figure something out, right? And that's all I can offer, because I'm not selling no fucking. I ain't selling no fucking shea butter, none of that shit, son. You hear me? And I'm wondering when somebody gonna get a fucking supermarket. I mean, okay, yeah, I don't need no sneakers, nigga. How about you make a supermarket? And it don't even have to have all black products. Just have something healthy in the motherfucker for a nigga. You feel me? Partner with some farms and get your shit fresh direct and shit like that. You know what I'm saying? Why we can't get a fucking, you know what I mean? And these rapping niggas so smart. Ain't none of them smart enough to create their own pharmacy. You know how much fucking drugs is going for right now? Niggas are selling pills hand over fist. And not one of you niggas is smart enough to send somebody to school for pharmacy and open up a pharmacy.
But everybody was in the street. Everybody was outside, right?
Right. But as you go to the hood right now, you see like 10 pharmacies in the hood. They all selling pills. They all selling the Oxycontins and all kinds. Right?
Well, slow kilos of coke. I'm guessing I could sell CDs. That's what they're talking about, man. That was their
right. But at the same time, if you can buy a Lambo, why wouldn't you try to buy yourself your own pharmacy?
Yeah.
You feel me? It's just little shit. Or even a chicken joint. There's not even a nigga that got his own chicken joint. So back in the days, they would have Texas fried chicken, Arkansas fried chicken, Ohio chicken, every state. Now they just be like New York fried chicken now, right? But nobody would be like, yo, let me just open up a fried chicken joint. It's gonna kill. Instead, I got Rap Snacks in Atlanta. These niggas is crazy. Rap Snacks. Okay. Okay. So only thing I can get out of you niggas is some liquor that ain't yours because you didn't make the shit. Then you give it a funny French name of Suchet. What? What are you talking about? Yo, son, niggas will be tripping the fuck out. Now, they be bugging the fuck out.
Got to.
Bamboo. Like, this nigga came out with a rum called Bamboo. Like, you from New Orleans, my nigga.
They do what they're allowed to do.
You ain't named the shit the Magnolia.
Right.
And nothing. No. You gonna put Bamboo or Duce. What the fuck are these niggas talking about? Like, you gonna trick me into believing that you got a family crest and all this shit. Like, you niggas been fucking distilling alcohol forever. Like, yo, come on, man. Like, you feel me? Come on, son. Come on, man. You know what I mean? And so it just be like, niggas sell you the same shit over and over again. So now everybody got a dispensary, everybody got an alcohol, everybody got a sneaker, everybody got a jogging suit. Feel me? I'm like, I'm over it. You know what I'm saying? But shout out the people who are doing their work though.
Right.
What's the guy name from Brownsville that got the school?
Q Butter.
Q Butter. Shout out Q Butter, man. Real talk. He be doing the work, man. I appreciate that black man. You smell me? I'm gonna make a conscious effort to try to donate to his fucking cause because he be out here doing the work, my nigga. He out here every day with them kids after school, putting them on the computer, teaching them how to read, you know what I'm saying, code and all that. Shout that brother out, man. That's what I'm, you know what I mean? You know, because I be niggas like, oh, he hating. Nah, some of these niggas is fucking bozos, but I gotta shout out the niggas that's really out there doing some work. Q Butter is doing that work, my nigga. Like, I gotta shout that black man out. Straight like that. Feel me? He doing that work. And if he ever see this, I hope he continue. And I give him all of the blessings. You know what I'm saying? That the gods allow for him to necessarily be fruitful and to be acknowledged for the work and the time and the effort that he puts in. Right? Because he could be doing anything else. But he trying to teach the babies. I appreciate that, man. You feel me? And those people who I see that are doing the work, you know what I'm saying? But Q Butter is one of them people that consistently, ever since I ever seen him show his face on the internet, he was about what he said he was. Feel me? He was about teaching them babies and getting the space, and he did it all, and he didn't have to ask for donations, and it didn't take him 10 years to do that. And so I think sometimes niggas need to reroute their attention to certain things where the shit is actually, there's some type of fruit, you know what I'm saying, bearing from the tree. You know what I'm saying? And so I'm taking this time out to shout that black man out, man. That he deserves, you know what I'm saying? And I don't give flowers out. Flowers is for the dead, nigga. I don't know what niggas talking about giving you your flowers now. Fuck out of here. Flowers is for the dead. I'm not dead. So I'm not giving that man his flowers. I'm giving him his acknowledgement and the support. Understand that even if it's not financial, intellectually and by word of mouth, I'm supporting that black man in his movement. Because I see him doing that shit, that work, and I like that shit. You feel me? I like that shit. That shit is, and to all of those that are the unknowns that are out there that got those daycare centers and those after school centers that is teaching them babies and trying to, you know what I'm saying, put a positive impression upon them. That it ain't all about being gangster and it ain't about fucking crip walking and, you know what I'm saying, throwing up blood signs and none of that other shit. The little young boys and young women are learning etiquette and then manners. You feel me? Because those are two different things. You feel me? And so, because they don't have no manners no more, nobody, and there's no reason to have any manners because there's no archetypes. The grandparents are gone. And so because the grandparents are fucking strung out on drugs and all kinds of shit like that, they don't, you know what I'm saying? So who is there to set example to these babies? So, like I said, I'm shouting out those people that doing the work. But all of this religious co-option that's going on, I'm not with it. If you are not initiated as a priest and have not spent the time and had the qualification and been qualified and exalted by one of your elders, we don't have nothing to talk about. You late to this class, you need to pay catch up. You feel me? Real talk. And so, cause you know, I'm not telling niggas I'm righteous about nothing. You feel me? I'm just trying to be pragmatic about shit. Like, my nigga, I ain't righteous about nothing. If you run down on me, my nigga, I might hurt you. You feel me? I'm not with being in no position to be, you know what I'm saying, a victim. So I'm not with the shits. You know what I mean? But, and I don't live on that type of frequency and that energy, so I don't attract that. But when it comes, I promise you, I will show you I am a group home baby. Watch me. You heard? Like, watch me, nigga. I'm gonna turn into something you ain't never seen before. So I ain't with the shits. And so niggas be having their little opinions about shit. I am orthodox. I ain't arrogant. I'm orthodox about my tradition. Feel me? Because it's my tradition. It's beyond just me. This is not something that I chose. My mama was a participant. My grandmother was a participant. My uncles, all my family members. So yeah, well, however you may think I, you know what I'm saying, I disposition myself in all of this, it is what it is. But I ain't for the shits. You feel me? And I'm not gonna sit here and play the people's egos and what they like and don't like, my nigga. Like, nah. If you don't like this shit, don't fuck with it. You feel me? And you shouldn't be able to take a part just because you think you got melanin or some shit like that. That don't. Feel me?
Right.
Word. But I'm about to get out of here now. You know what I mean? And you know I had to come through for you, you know what I mean? Anytime you want me to necessarily speak on something, man, you know what I'm saying, you hit me up.
Yeah, I'm waiting for the next book. So when the next book drops,
you know, it's only two people I'm going, you know what I'm saying, I promote on. It's you and Black Dot. So, you know, you got that spot. So as soon as I got it in my hand and I could show it to motherfuckers, like, look at here. And they could go to Amazon and get it, because, you know, I ain't playing that game with niggas. I didn't get my book. We're not doing that. You like convenience, call Amazon.
I'm gonna wait to get mine from you because I need your signature in person. Just like this. You know what I'm saying? It's like this. You just said convenience to be in prison. I'll wait till we link, till I shake your hand, till I hug my brother. You know what I'm saying? My priest in the flesh. You know what I mean? And we put bread in each other's pocket, like literally. That's how we do.
That. But yo, when the next time you gonna be in Atlanta?
Either the end of this month or next month. Next month, the end of next month for sure, I'll be there.
Hit me up, man. I ain't but 2 hours away.
Yeah, from the 31st to the 5th, I'll be out there. I'll be out there with Killer Priest and some other people.
Hit me up. I ain't but 2 hours away.
All right.
You know, I'm in Beham, so right,
yeah.
2 hours away. All right, Lons, I appreciate you, brother.
Appreciate you.
And to the people, I love y'all. That don't mean I got to like all you niggas.
That's a fact.
Word up. I love y'all, but I ain't got to like all you niggas, and I ain't got to like all the shenanigans. You know what I'm saying? But if you take the time to calibrate yourself to that water and that candle, and you get the necessary dedicating that time in that space, you know what I mean? You'll see some results. And when you get to that point, then come get at your boy. Holla at me. You know what I mean?
Right.
But I'm gone, man. I got to take care of some peoples. And, you know, that's how we doing it. You heard?
Definitely.
All right, Barbara.
All right. Our brother Oba, man. Make sure y'all holler at him. Get this book. It's on Amazon. Get the children's book. And, you know, just support what we got going on. All right? We out, y'all. Peace.
Yeah. Now we gonna tell them. That in front. We tell them like this, yo. I'm an African. I'm a African. I'm an African. I'm a African. Yeah, y'all like that. So no more. This man's mind is open. I'm an African. I'm a African. I'm an African. I'm a. Let's get
And
back
that
to
motive
the
is best developed by recognizing the common enemy.